Father Emperor, did you call on daughter? The Ling Yan princess Xiao Hanyan walked into the study. Emperor Liang was just bent over his desk, completely surrounded by books. Emperor Liang lifted his head. Seeing Xiao Hanyan, he showed a fatherly benevolence. Gesturing for Xiao Hanyan to sit down, Princess Ling Yan's star general Dong Junqing emerged from the star nest and appeared at her side. This is for you. Emperor Liang waved his hand. A blue light flashed, and a banner of waves appeared in Xiao Hanyan's hand. Looking at this item, Xiao Hanyan was stunned. This item was the Blue Wave's heavenly clear damask, the approaching star's destined star weapon. Father Emperor, could it be you? How would we have the interest to confront a star general? Knowing what his daughter was astonished about, Emperor Liang smiled. This was seized from the purple thunder monster, so we shall gift it to you. There is another star weapon that will be given to your second brother. The Xiao Hanyan who was currently toying with the Blue Wave's heavenly clear damask suddenly froze her smile. A fleeting shock flashed across her eyes. The purple thunder monster. Father Emperor, you killed the purple thunder monster. Xiao Hanyan was aware of the purple thunder monster's true identity, and hearing that Su Xing unexpectedly came into contact with her father, her heart had a kind of unclear perturbed feeling. He certainly is not easy to kill. Emperor Liang smiled. Father Emperor, just what happened? Can you inform daughter? You two must have had a misunderstanding. Xiao Hanyan's brows rose, and her tone was somewhat nervous. Seeing her appearance, the steadfast star Dong Junqing concealed a very good twitch of her lips. Emperor Liang's eyes had an odd expression. The Princess Ling Yan in his memory was noble and proud, seemingly never caring for external affairs. Hearing his daughter's rare uneasiness, he was somewhat curious. Xiao Hanyan's face turned red. She nonchalantly said, I heard most recently that the Azure Dragon territory is spreading the reputation of the Purple Thunder Saint. The scattered star cultivators are abuzz about the affair at Vermilion Bird Territory's Five Poisons Mountain. Daughter is very curious. Oh. So there was even something like this. Emperor Liang looked pensively. He teased, those 10 sects seem to have gone about things truly not cleanly enough. Father Emperor, just how did this purple thunder monster offend Father Emperor? To unexpectedly take away the star weapons he had obtained? Xiao Hanyan said in a low voice. Emperor Liang summarized the events of Heavenly Gem Valley's 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. As for the purple thunder monster contracting multiple star generals, he actually omitted that without mention at all. Ah, Xiao Hanyan was dumbstruck. He unexpectedly came into contact and even snatched away the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Heavens, Princess Ling Yan was surprised, not because Su Xing could steal the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo, but because Su Xing unexpectedly dared to contend against her father. What kind of courage did this need? Xiao Hanyan knew better than anyone else the awe of the Liang dynasty's emperor. That angered appearance was such that perhaps even the 10 great sects could not avoid it quickly enough. He truly is fortunate. Knowing that Su Xing used the jade pendant to escape, Xiao Hanyan carelessly sighed in relief. This detail made Emperor Liang's eyelids jump. Father Emperor is preparing the entire country's power to chase and kill him. Originally, we did not want to partake with the 10 great sects, but he unexpectedly dared to provoke us. Hanyan, what say you whether or not we should do this? Emperor Liang asked very interestedly. This guy truly is too brazen. Even if he died 100 times, his death would not be regretted. Xiao Hanyan bit her lips, recalling their encounter in the Void Immortal's abode, her face turned red, showing a daughter's manner. What, death is not to be regretted, she clearly was pretending to be displeased. Dong Junqing fake coughed to warn her. Xiao Hanyan's face was hot, saying in deadly earnest, however, daughter feels this purple thunder monster's mistake even has merits. Father Emperor issued an arrest warrant for the worst. Emperor Liang was slightly surprised at Xiao Hanyan's words. He smiled, why? The current Purple Thunder Saint, reputation currently is proliferating through a majority of the scattered star cultivator sections. The 10 great sects' reputation is not at all good. If Father Emperor carries through with this, would he not be helping the evildoers? This would make the other cultivators freeze their hearts. Zhao Hanyan analyzed. Emperor Liang nodded. Seeing Father Emperor seemingly show approval, Zhao Hanyan continued to speak. Secondly, Father Emperor should not order his arrest. Rather, Father Emperor should thank him. Thank the Purple Thunder Monster. Emperor Liang's smile disappeared. If it was anyone else who had this, they would feel incredulous. How could he, who had just been provoked and had a spirit item stolen from him, even have to on the contrary thank his opponent? If it was anyone else, Emperor Liang would have slapped him to death with a single strike. However, he knew his daughter's intelligence, so he continued to listen. Zhao Hanyan also smiled. Can Hanyan venture to ask Father Emperor 2 questions? Ask. First question, that 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo definitely is not yet 10,000 years? N. It still had 10 more years. Had it reached 10,000 years, perhaps it would already have been harvested. Second question, Father Emperor has spirit liquid to rapidly expedite the growth for the remaining 10 years? Daughter feels that Heavenly Gem Valley must have wasted significant effort on it. If it was not spirit liquids like the 1,000-year tears, perhaps it cannot have induced growth. We actually do not have this. Although the Great Liang dynasty was prosperous, the least bit of induced growth spirit liquids the likes of the 1,000-year tears had not been found. Third question, the Black Turtle territory had devil cults aware of the Heavenly Gem Valley's 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo that they would come for a raid? Precisely. Emperor Liang covered his smile, already understanding what his daughter was saying. Zhao Hanyan said sweetly, so Father Emperor ought to thank the Purple Thunder Monster for helping Father Emperor settle a hidden danger. The evil-suppressing gem bamboo still had 10 years in order to mature, a period that Emperor Liang could not possibly waste. Furthermore, he was without any means to quickly take away the evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Since this was the case, the Black Turtle territory's next sneak attack would develop into a war. The 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo was the bane of the devil cults. How could the Black Turtle territory be so reconciled if they did not pull it out by the roots? At that time, there was bound to be a terrible war. Now, the Purple Thunder Monster had taken it away and left many a thought. And how could Emperor Liang not possibly understand? But this 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo has fallen into the monster's hands. In the end, this has made us not too reassured. Although others call him monster, in actuality, Su Xing's person is not bad. Zhao Hanyan recalled that day inside the cave, and red clouds once again flew across her face. The Purple Thunder Monster is a star master, and he has obtained such a divine item. Hanyan, that would be very disadvantageous for you in the star duels, yet you actually are helping speak up for him. Emperor Liang smiled and asked, you have met him before? Daughter is only speaking the truth. Father Emperor, there is no need to worry. Even if he really did take the 10,000 year, that can only give the Black Turtle territory's monsters a headache. I have nothing to worry about at all. Zhao Hanyan's expression was gentle. Inside the void Liangshan, it was still thanks to him that daughter could obtain the jade pendant. Dong Junqing snorted, somewhat displeased. Zhao Hanyan unexpectedly wanted to thank a philandering pervert. Emperor Liang glanced at the steadfast star, then looked at Zhao Hanyan, his eyes shining. Since you have said as such, we shall have faith in him. When the time is right and conditions are favorable for him, we shall no longer investigate him. Emperor Liang muttered to himself. The 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo was not at all very useful to him. He only worried the devil cults would exploit the divine light the evil-suppressing gem bamboo gave rise to in order to create an abnormal cultivation method. Now hearing Zhao Hanyan discuss that Su Xing, seemingly with love and hate, he did not appear to be a vicious philanderer. Hanyan, do you have a way to find that Su Xing? Father Emperor. We only wish to discuss the affairs of Maiden Mountain with him. We will not do anything to him. Emperor Liang lightly smiled. He appears and disappears as he pleases. Daughter has not seen him since the purple star birth outline. Zhao Hanyan pondered, hesitantly speaking. Next time you encounter him, inform us. Hanyan understands. Discussing further, Emperor Liang said, these star duels, other star masters are more demanding. How is the support that the true Immortals Hall provided you? And, the school is very good to daughter. Not long ago, the headmaster even gave Hanyan a prehistoric spirit treasure, the purple smoke confusing sky lantern. They have helped daughter in the star duels, and a breakthrough to supercluster stage should be imminent. Zhao Hanyan was proud. We have also prepared a magic weapon for each of the three of you. Emperor Liang said in satisfaction, General of Double Spears Dong Junqing, you also have a share. With the current evil smiting hall about to begin, the star duels were about to truly start. Now that Chao Gai has already descended into the world, after this, everything would have to rely on the star general's own selves in battle. Dong Junqing nodded her head, considered to be grateful. Knowing her personality to be this way, Emperor Liang did not mind. How have you practiced the Flying Immortal's sword? It is already near connecting spirit. Over the next few days, we shall point out the true spirit realm of the flying sword. Many thanks to Father Emperor. Zhao Hanyan showed happiness. She certainly was aware of the power of Father Emperor's flying sword, Liangshan's apex. With Emperor Liang's guidance, the next time she encountered Su Xing, watch how this princess will sort you out. In several months, it shall be your birthday. In accordance with custom, Father Emperor shall prepare to hold for you a Liangshan feast. If there is anyone to your fancy, remember to bring them for us to take a look. Daughter is currently in the star duels. How could she have the mind to bother with this? Zhao Hanyan said. Emperor Liang smiled, if that purple thunder monster can come on your birthday, that would be even better. Emerging from the study, Zhao Hanyan's face was brimming with joy. Nevertheless, the Dong Junqing next to her was expressionless. The trace of sentiment Princess Ling Yan leaked out in the dialogue with Emperor Liang made her very upset. She even wanted to push Zhao Hanyan onto a bed for a ravaging interrogation, however, this was the imperial palace. Dong Junqing did not dare be rash, staying well-behaved to the side. This time, Father Emperor has been very strange since he returned from Heavenly Gem Valley, unexpectedly being this generous. Zhao Hanyan's face wore a slight smile. Emperor Liang probably feels these star duels are very dangerous. Dong Junqing muttered to herself, immediately saying earnestly, Princess Highness, you must not lose your direction because of other people. Zhao Hanyan's smile very quickly was restrained, replaced with a dignified expression. She knew the dangers of the star duels. Actually, Princess Highness, why did you help speak up for that man just now? Would letting Emperor Liang kill him not be better? Dong Junqing snorted, do you want to inform Emperor Liang about the matter of the 1,000-year contract? Continuing on like this is not a solution. Princess Highness must not forget, the star duels at the very end are only you die and I live. There is no kindness to be said. The steadfast star was very serious. Princess Ling Yan's smile confused everyone. Her gaze was directed to the sky outside the window, and her expression seemed to fly to a very faraway place. This princess is actually very expectant for that period to quickly come. What would he do? The steadfast star said to herself, he will strike a killing blow. If he is heartless, this princess naturally will be heartless to him. But the current Su Xing honestly makes this princess quite amazed, unexpectedly unafraid of even Father Emperor. However, he still is truly very reckless. Zhao Hanyan shallowly smiled, her eyes flashing. There was a sort of very odd and passionate luster. Do you want to go find him right now? I wonder what he is doing right now. Young Lord, Xinjie wants to collect semen. 2. The knowledge star's clothes were half undone, her eyes containing an infatuating charm. With fixed eyes, she stared at Su Xing, her lovely words shocking. Great Saint Starkiller sat in the void immortal's abode. Around his whole body flickered more than 100 flying swords that became starlight, as if he was bathing in a galaxy. The cycle of heaven circulated, the starlight dimming and brightening from time to time. The heavenly cycle-changing sword was currently being practiced by Great Saint Starkiller continuously, vaguely transforming into a profound sword array. The surrounding spiritual influences endlessly washed the galaxy and stars, making Great Saint Starkiller appear to be seemingly placed inside a void, very mysterious. Great Saint, you cultivate the heavenly cycle-changing holy sword very slowly. A seemingly amused yet not voice floated out from within the void. A tall girl walked out. Her body wore engraved dragon golden armor, draped in a large red cloak, embroidered with 5 colored phoenixes. Her feet wore pure gold coiling dragon boots, and her waist was bound with a golden dragon. She appeared more majestic than an emperor, aggressive and austere. The woman was also absolutely beautiful, with a slender neck, teeth like ivory, a stunning smile and beautiful eyes. Inger, you have returned. Great Saint Starkiller opened his eyes, his appearance calm as a dry well. Great Saint, your complexion is not too good. Did you encounter some trouble? The brows of this woman named Inger rose, as if her whole body was full of concern. I ran into the purple thunder monster. Great Saint Starkiller smiled. Oh. The purple thunder monster, that purple thunder monster rumored to have contracted Lin Chong? Inger's eyes released light, a sort of expression that had caught sight of prey. Is he as formidable as the rumors say? Not bad, even more formidable than that. Great Saint Starkiller nodded. He spoke forthrightly, summarizing the events. Hearing that several of her sisters accompanied him, Inger showed astonishment. What, for sisters? That purple thunder monster unexpectedly has such great capability. These 9th-generation star duels are cyclical, with a difference, indeed. Great Saint Starkiller was unafraid, contrarily smiling. At long last, there is an interesting Star Master. This general had always thought this generation would be lonely. Ha, ha, truly, this is too good. Inger rubbed her hands together. Her personality was extremely straightforward, unable to bear but think of going all out against the purple thunder monster right now. Great Saint Starkiller said, Inger, is your 4-star weapon settled? An arrogant smile flit across Inger's lips. Of course this general settled it, however, this general also wishes to know whether or not Great Saint can last for 30 seconds under this general's blade. Great Saint Starkiller rose, calmly smiling. He waved his hand, and the heavenly cycle-changing holy sword to the side revolved into a sword array, densely packed, completely lacking gaps. Inger sneered. Both her hands dropped, and an imposing weapon that could overflow the heavens and split the earth appeared. 4 starlights like fairies circulated with a sort of extreme imposing air. Great Saint Starkiller felt stifled. If you do not go all out, you will be near death. Inger shouted, then rushed forward. Great Saint Starkiller retreated a step, and he immediately smiled. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was very gloomy, quite gloomy. He looked at the purple star jade pendant in his hands gloomily thinking of bumping against the wall. 2 cracks dazzled and were full of mockery, like a mark deeply branded on his heart, impossible to get rid of. Damn it, truly disgraceful. He was a grand genius of star masters. A man able to contract 2 star generals unexpectedly would flee back to the immortal's abode not once, but twice. Sullen, extremely sullen. River Dragon Li Xiangfei and Demon King of Chaos watched him with some worry. Young master, there is no need to blame yourself. For that purple thunder monster to unexpectedly have 4 star generals accompanying him, this honestly is too far outside of expectations. Few among the star masters can be his opponent right now. Li Xiangfei gently consoled him. Hearing this, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was even more furious. For what reason would that man have 4 star generals, damn it? Are the brains of those women ruined? Following that star master, truly extremely stupid. Li Xiangfei and Fan Ming looked at each other in dismay. It is probably because of Lin Chong. In Liangshan's 1,000 years, this is the first time the majestic star signed a contract, which somewhat would make other sisters dizzy for a time. The top priority, young master, is not to sigh in despair here. Fan Ming opened her mouth, her tone strict. If it could be said that Li Xiangye was playing the role of the villain, the demon king of chaos was the typical strict parent, lecturing him. If young master is defeated like this, then Fan Ming must have seen the wrong person. Minger, you underestimate this holy lord too much. The holy lord of draconic demons sucked in a deep breath, laughing. To be able to know how things about the purple thunder monster stand before the third stage, this is a good thing. Li Xiangfei said. The holy lord of draconic demon nodded, and, this holy lord actually is regretful the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo was not seized. Otherwise, handling that abnormal Great Saint Starkiller would be very possible. The two star generals were silent, also feeling this was regrettable. Great Saint Starkiller truly was too abnormal. Furthermore, he possessed a super-powerful star general. Even if Li Xiangfei and Fan Ming were to confront that elder sister, they would feel powerless for a bit. When Emperor Liang arrived, that he was unable to take it is fortunate. Fan Ming said in a low voice. This time, the Heavenly Underworld sect has suffered a disaster. The Underworld Heaven sect master was unsightly. Young master must increase his strength. This Fei and little sister Fan Ming must upgrade their star weapons as soon as possible. We heard that Inger has already reached 4-star and returned. Events did not deviate in the slightest from what Zhao Hanyan anticipated. The Heavenly Underworld sect, for the sake of a tricky surprise attack on Heavenly Gem Valley, ruined the whole thing at the end. 2 ancestral masters died, and their bottom line was clearly shown. To make things worse, this had even been discovered by Great Saint Starkiller. Originally, the Heavenly Underworld sect wanted to take the sneak attack on Heavenly Gem Valley as an opportunity to conveniently get rid of Great Saint Starkiller. But they had not expected they would achieve nothing in the end. Great Saint Starkiller returned to the Black Turtle territory and informed this matter to Devil Star Palace. The Devil Star Palaces, Elder Heaven and Earth, even specially assigned people to make inquiries. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon also knew the severity of things. The secrets absolutely could not get out, clinging on to the pretext that they went for the Heavenly Gem Valley's evil-suppressing Gem Bamboo and Star Master. The Devil Star Palace also could not help things, and finally, they personally assigned 1,000 disciples to invade Heavenly Gem Valley. It was a pity that Emperor Liang already long had preparations, for Heavenly Gem Valley was deserted. They searched the entire valley and did not find the 10,000-year evil-suppressing Gem Bamboo. In the end, this affair was finished with nothing settled. And at this moment, the person involved that made the devil cults and Emperor Liang wring their hands in disappointment was currently enjoying an entirely worldly romance. Young master, Xinjie wants to collect semen. Wu Xinjie's clothes were half exposed, and she lied seductively upon Su Xing's chest. The two of them finished kissing, already breathing heavily, their lust bursting forth. Losing your virginity now is very harmful. Soon, Evil Smiting Hall is about to begin. We had better wait. Su Xing panted, with no choice but to hold back. What Xinjie spoke of was the fine lady's essence gathering. 2. Wu Xinjie stopped Su Xing's neck, pressing her tender body tightly against his. Their lips touched, her amorous intent like silk. You've trained in it. Su Xing's very wanton hands wandered over her body. From the tall and straight peaks to the hidden valley of flowing dew, the girl's body already had been explored without anything left. Then how will you gather it? Wu Xinjie lied atop Su Xing's shoulder, her whole face blushing. She rose, with all sort of flirtatious feelings, just a bit of charm in her eyes. Su Xing's whole body quivered, and then the girl leaned her body over. The sound of sucking rose. Su Xing moaned, only feeling his whole body open up to the pleasure. Pleasure like spider silk was sucked from his dantian upwards, unceasingly entering a warm orifice. This sort of feeling immediately followed Wu Xinjie's sucking. Wave upon wave gushed forth, and the lust previously suppressed inside his body was pulled to bursting out by this incredible sucking. Xinjie, Su Xing's breathing was increasingly heavy. Wu Xinjie's lust was circulating. At the same time she sucked, she did not forget to exercise the fine lady's essence gathering. The fine lady's yin energy passed through Wu Xinjie's tongue, her red lips and entered into Su Xing's dantian. Then, the yang fire in Su Xing's dantian was painstakingly being drawn into the girl's throat, yin and yang mixed, like ice and fire, truly the world's supreme pleasure. How could this sort of wonderful thing be understood by going outside the human path? A moment afterwards, yang fire poured out in torrents and burned. Wu Xinjie charmingly brushed back the hair next to her ear, swallowing everything. And unknown how long afterwards, Su Xing's whole body perspired. That feeling truly could only be described as wishing he was dead. Wu Xinjie's seductive appearance was fully revealed, her whole body already left with just a tiny bodice wrapping her body. Her flesh was rosy, her fragrance on the attack, and his yang fire burned. Ah, young lord. Wu Xinjie licked her lips, wearing a completely sullen look. How is it? This cultivation method? Su Xing chuckled. There was an increase in star energy. Wu Xinjie nodded, an extremely alluring appearance. Is young master not yet satisfied? This time, let young lord properly serve you. How could Su Xing be satisfied with this? The girl cried out in alarm and was turned over on the bed by Su Xing. Ah, don't, young lord, this is too shameful, it is better to let Xinjie do it. Sensing Su Xing's flaming gaze, Wu Xinjie's ears grew hot. The words immediately afterwards had not yet dropped when shy moans broke away from her soft throat. And that was the sight of an overflowing love. Truly, this was, softly undressing the raiment, blackness permeates the mountain, the sweet collapsed beauty is fragrant, a shy dilettante, moistening the growing passion, hearing that blowjob sound. 3. Ever since Wu Xinjie's fine lady's essence gathering had small progress, Su Xing was in a situation where he wished he was dead. How could this sexy, alluring woman let things go if she did not gather twice or thrice in a day? Their movements alternated, and the odd yin technique endlessly made Su Xing the one going through this about to be feel a sense of inferiority. The fine lady's essence gathering was specially used for female cultivators for sex. Besides being able to give their lover supreme pleasure, it could also absorb star energy. Compared with extremely evil gathering arts, the essence gathering techniques were truly gentle beyond compare. Not only did it not make the energy of the man being served exhausted, it contrarily could mix it with yin energy, expanding the counterpart's star energy. After the blowjob of the first night, Su Xing broke through his bottleneck, reaching from galaxy stage to galaxy middle stage. Su Xing and Wu Xinjie were this ecstatic, and the other 5-star maidens also more or less could somewhat react to them. Outside the immortal's abode, they looked at each other in dismay. Their expressions were wondrous, and the 5 beautiful ladies' reactions were all unique. Yan Yizhen customarily treated it with indifference, Gong Sun Huang shook her head about and felt she was visiting a foreign place, and Suwen's face and ears were crimson as she lowered head and remained silent. Lin Yingmei's brow wrinkled, and she bit her lower lip, yet she did not say anything. Shi Yuan blinked, shouting out loud. This young lady wants to learn that, too. All of the girls blushed in shame. Just like this, several days passed when finally, the test day of the 4 Styles School's solitary star, gold coin spotted leopard, arrived. On this day, outside the hall on the 4 Styles School's main peak, 4 Styles School disciples already packed the surroundings. Disciples from the Water Moon Peak, Thunder Roll Peak, Heavenly Fire Peak, Violent Wind Peak all came out. Regardless of whether or not they could become star masters, they were present. This time, the solitary star's appearance at the 4 Styles School had caused a sensation in the sect. The headmaster opened the 4 Styles solitary path experience. This sort of extremely rare opportunity would not be missed so long as one was a 4 Styles School disciple. Su Xing glanced at these disciples, and not a single one of them was capable of stopping him from marrying little sister Lianxin. The moment Su Xing appeared, he stirred everyone's attention. Ever since several months ago when he startled the Four Styles school, Su Xing did not appear thereafter, always mysterious. Although a very long time had passed, his status as Zhu Yueka's disciple made it impossible to not attract attention, even if he did not want to. The Four Styles school had varied with the qualifications to become Tang Lianxin's star master, more than 10, but their cultivations were not impressive at all. The highest was merely Nebula middle stage. The Four Styles school would perhaps be unwilling to nurture this type of star master, for this practically was a waste. Junior brother Su Xing. Just as he was thinking, he suddenly heard a sweet voice. Yang Yanyu smiled widely as she walked over. Senior sister Yanyu. Su Xing greeted respectfully. He suddenly sensed a divine intent seize onto his body, and Su Xing remained motionless. Yang Yanyu curiously inspected Su Xing's cultivation. However, Su Xing's cultivation already reached galaxy middle stage, so she was far from being able to see through him. Junior brother Su Xing, you truly are a genius. Your cultivation advanced a lot again. It is all due to master's instruction on the proper method. Su Xing smiled. Of course. Master Aunt Yueka is the Four Styles School's peak senior. Yang Yanyu deeply held this feeling. How could she have known that aside from Zhu Yueka throwing a few books at Su Xing and giving some pointers at the very beginning, he was beyond her capability to teach? And Su Xing had no need to point that out. This time, is junior brother Su Xing also thinking of signing a contract with the solitary star? Yang Yanyu asked. This is only natural. Su Xing nodded. Yang Yanyu kindly said, junior brother must think clearly. The star duels are but you die and I live. Now, it is already the third phase. The other great sect star masters already have nearly fully developed wings. After the fourth phase, the star generals will be truly lethal, undying and untiring. Junior brother participating in the star duels right now is indeed somewhat dangerous, and the solitary star Tang Long participating in the star duels is but true cannon fodder. Yang Yanyu also saw that Su Xing was not bad and was rather fond of him that she would say this. Otherwise, the entire Four Styles school from top to bottom was exhilarated at this contract, yet was it not unfortunate that she dampened the enthusiasm? Su Xing naturally knew that what Yang Yanyu said was true. However, the past star duels also had many star masters that struck second rather than first and surpassed their masters. Many thanks for senior sister's concern, but your servant's intentions are already decided. Besides, your servant and little sister Lianxin have slept together for this long. How could your servant surrender little sister Lianxin so readily? Yang Yanyu was speechless. The star duels was the entire Liangshan's golden age. In this sort of environment, even if the situation was any more dangerous, signing a star duel covenant with a star general was something many star cultivators pursued. Then senior sister hopes junior brother Su Xing will be successful in all things. Many thanks, senior sister. Humph, what a joke. You would be mistreated if you participated in the star duels. A disdainful cold snort interrupted the two. This voice was too familiar. Wan Hongxue, is your butt itchy? Su Xing crossed his arms, seemingly smiling yet not. When the Wan Hongxue wearing a red robe heard Su Xing say that comment, her face turned red and glared at him. Don't think that you need not differentiate between good and bad just because you are under Master Aunt Yueka. The star duels are once in 100 years, and any random star master is more powerful than you by 100-fold, more ingenious by 1,000, Even in the Four Styles school, senior brother Yi Jun and senior sister Tsong Wanji, too, are much more incredible than you. Hongxue, do not be impudent. This time, junior brother Su Xing is but being accorded great hopes by sect master. Jiao Shu said. Wan Hongxue twitched her lips, lectured into shutting her mouth by Jiao Shu. Gazing at Su Xing, she nevertheless wanted to spurt forth fire. After being humiliated that day, that was the shame of Wan Hongxue's life. Truly, she dreamed of flogging Su Xing every day. Afterwards, she even called for Yi Jun and Song Wanji to cause Su Xing trouble. What a pity. After that, Su Xing declared seclusion and did not appear outside Mirror's flower stream thereafter, making Wan Hongxue angry with no outlet. Junior brother Su Xing, do not mind her, little sister Hongxue is just fond of stirring up trouble. Jiao Shu still was very cultured and refined. Su Xing was disinclined to take notice of her commotion. Who were they that she mentioned just now? Star Masters contending for the Star General. You do not know? They were stunned. I was always in seclusion. Su Xing smiled. Yang Yanyu whispered, Yi Jun is the son of the Thunder Roll Peak's head, and Song Wanji is Water Moon Peak's. They are among the Four Styles School's 4 great disciples. Su Xing suddenly understood. He recalled conversations that the Four Styles School indeed had 4 great disciples. The Jiao Shu in front of him was a disciple of Fire Cloud Peak. Junior brother Su Xing truly is a genius. Your cultivation has already reached Galaxy Middle Stage. Jiao Shu's eyes contained a blaze, slightly startled as he spoke. What Galaxy Middle Stage? The surrounding sect disciples all shouted, looking flabbergasted at Su Xing. Impossible. How could he possibly be this quick? Last time, he was but Nebula Late Stage. Wan Hongxue yelled. Jiao Shu gazed at Su Xing with an expression that was incomparably odd. He certainly had spent much effort to only finally break through from Galaxy Early Stage to Galaxy Middle Stage, and Su Xing unexpectedly jumped 2 levels. It was known that Star Cultivator realms each had a bottleneck at each stage, and the Great Realms in particular were even more difficult. No wonder junior brother is this confident. It seems you truly are more gifted than others. Yang Yanyu smiled. Wan Hongxue's face was red with anger. Su Xing's cultivation being at Galaxy Middle Stage honestly was too quick. She had barely reached Galaxy Early Stage. To think of participating in the star duels at Galaxy Middle Stage, that is rather too arrogant. This is certainly not good. A man and woman walked over. The man wore the Thunder Roll Peak's robes and the girl was adorned with the Water Moon Peak's robes. Seeing these two's cultivation was Galaxy Late Stage, there was no need to think to realize these were the 4 great disciples of the Four Styles School. Senior brother Yi Jun, senior sister Wanji. Wan Hongxue shouted in pleasant surprise. The man and woman slightly nodded their heads. That Song Wanji was a very adorable beauty, like a peaceful lotus, quite graceful. So you are Su Xing, Master Aunt Ju Yueka's disciple? Song Wanji slightly smiled. We heard you caused a big ruckus when you had only just arrived in the sect, making the Fire Cloud Peak lose much face. At the time, senior sister was in seclusion and missed out. Cultivators from outside Fire Eastern Island always like to stir up trouble. Yi Hun's expression was very loathsome. However, it is better for junior brother to not participate in the star duels. Things like the star duels definitely are not small scale. Song Wanji's tone was very tender, making listeners feel like they were bathing in spring breezes. It was just that the words spoken made Su Xing displeased, the appearance of an elder lecturing a youngster. However, her cultivation was higher by a bit, and her seniority as a senior sister was a matter of course. Your servant possesses his own propriety. Su Xing indifferently responded. Yi Hun looked at Su Xing's appearance with a scowl. Coldly, he said, we treat you well because Ju Yueka has placed great hopes in you. Many thanks for your concern. Su Xing refused to comment. Your servant has heard someone wants to take your servant's solitary star. Interesting. The atmosphere then stiffened. Another voice brimming with curiosity floated over. Raising their head to look, wind blew, and a black-robed man appeared in the courtyard. Pengtian, you have also come. The others laughed aloud when they saw. The last of the 4 great disciples, Yun Pengtian, 3, also has the qualifications to contract a star general. Yang Yanyu whispered. The 4 great disciples appearing on scene actually made Su Xing pensive, for they like Su Xing, also Galaxy Middle Stage. That Yun Pengtian walked in front of Su Xing, asking in surprise, "This junior brother also can contract a star general?" "Precisely." "Ha, ha." As expected, the beginning of the star duels had many geniuses the same as this genius. Yun Pengtian laughed aloud. He stroked his chin. "However, this senior brother certainly has accumulated power for a long time for the star duels and will not yield to you." "Junior brother. Your servant is Su Xing. Everything depends on your own skill. Yielding or not yielding cannot be said." Su Xing smiled, not wishing to speak more idle chatter. The true chapter would be witnessed on the battlefield. The others showed expressions of praise when they heard this. "Well spoken, everything depends on your own skill." Yun Pengtian smiled widely. Jiao Shu at this time came over to mediate. The Four Styles School's four great disciples huddled together, chatting with one another. Su Xing's hearing was very good, and he heard Song Wanji and the others still were very receptive of Yun Pengtian contracting the solitary star. This Yun Pengtian came from Violent Wind Peak. He has a very formidable galaxy magic weapon. You must take note of him. Yang Yanyu whispered. Su Xing nodded. Outside Styles Heart Hall's plaza, there were more and more escape lights. Afterwards, there were no waves that were too great at all. Although the majority of the disciples were very inclined towards contracting the solitary star, they knew themselves. Most of them came to experience the Four Styles solitary path. Reportedly, those that could pass through the Four Styles solitary path definitely were first-class talents, which was very helpful for later tool refinement. Not long after, the Styles Heart Hall's doors opened, and the plaza was immediately silent. The Four Peaks heads, Zhu Yueka and Headmaster Taoist Master Xian Tian walked out. Even more attention-grabbing was the solitary star gold coin spotted leopard Tang Long beside Zhu Yueka. The Tang Lianxin adorned in a palace dress was captivating to everyone present. That unique iceberg temperament of the solitary star made even Song Wanji seem slightly filthy. In all of Liangshan continent, countless star cultivators pursued the star duels. It was very difficult to say whether or not such an absolutely beautiful and magnificent star general would accompany this sort of vanity. Taoist Master Xian Tian also explained most everything, only that the star general honoring them with her presence was the matter of great fortune for the Four Styles School. The Four Styles solitary path was opened specially today to select the Four Styles School's star master. Besides this, any star cultivator that could go from start to finish in the Four Styles solitary path would earn the sex awards and patronage, making all of the cultivators endlessly moved. In addition, the first to pass through the Four Styles solitary path had the qualifications to be a star master and could sign a star dual covenant with the solitary star. Finally, the heads of the four spirit peaks each waved a hand. A talisman appeared in the hands of each disciple. This is an escape technique talisman, a talisman this school specially fabricated. The Four Styles solitary path is very dangerous, and you may even lose your life. Many superbly talented disciples in the past have fallen in the Four Styles solitary path. If you encounter danger, immediately use this talisman. Zhu Yueka at this time spoke coldly, her tone reserved, yet her words poured into everyone present. Every person listened genuinely and worriedly. Everyone that had originally been rubbing their palms together instantly were as if they had fallen into an ice house, stunned. Headmaster, we could even lose our lives. Some cultivators asked in astonishment. Of course. Did you think experience was fun? All experience, if you do not go through death, what experience does that count as? Zhu Yueka coldly said. Although that escape technique talisman can save your life, the dangers you all will encounter may not give you even a chance to react, which is a waste of a talisman. The reason why the Four Styles solitary path has been sealed off for so long is precisely because many disciples have perished. The Four Styles school cannot take such losses, thus closed it off. Furthermore, we have no means to help you. The Four Styles solitary path is set according to the cultivation of the cultivators entering. The higher the cultivation, the greater the danger. You all must consider this point clearly. Thunder Roll Peak's head Yizheng warned, disciples Nebula late stage and higher can enter. The other disciples had best not rashly enter. The two's words immediately made the atmosphere fall to the freezing point. When the 100 disciples that had originally prepared to fully take on this task heard they could even lose their lives, they were stunned. From here, whatever the potential all of the 4 Styles School disciples had could be seen. Those that could bear hardship with equanimity mostly were those with immeasurable prospects. And it was only those that were timid upon hearing of danger that would someday completely lack accomplishments. Taoist Master Xian Tian and the others observed all of the disciples, somewhat disappointed. Those that could maintain their cool probably was just more than 10. Zhu Yueka watched Su Xing's carefree appearance, a small smile on her face. Her gaze then looked to Yunpeng Tian. The latter remained calm in the face of adversity, which was not outside of expectations. The star master of the 4 Styles School was just between these two. Then, Taoist Master Xian Tian rose, his imposing air made everyone present alarmed into a cold sweat and into clarity. The heads of the 4 peaks each glanced at each other and walked up to the plaza. The others dispersed, and the 4 arranged a magic circle. They stood upon the array points representing wind, thunder, water and fire. Then, they struck hand seals, read incantations. That huge sword sculpture in the plaza boomed and was wrapped up by 4 rays of light. Taoist Master Xian Tian stood up and flipped his wrist. He brought out a divine sword. This sword was 3 chi long, and white fog hovered around its entire body. From time to time, wind blew, from time to time, thunder and lightning skipped, from time to time, a watery fog churned, from time to time, flames blazed. The 4 types of spirit magic wind, thunder, water, fire jumped on the sword, unexpectedly oddly mixing together into a whole, making people watching feel disbelief. This was the 4 Styles School's sect guarding treasure, 4 Styles Qiankuan sword. Taoist Master Qiankuan waved the 4 Styles Qiankuan, firing 4 light rays. Immediately afterwards, the immense sculpture of the plaza boomed open. A spatial transfer array's vortex appeared. The vortex fired wind, thunder, water and fire, and everyone took a step back. The passage has been opened. Disciples willing to participate in this trial, enter quickly. Remember, immediately return if you feel danger. Zhu Yueka shouted, her tone very strict. All of the disciples were roused and fully realized she was not joking. A silhouette completely lacked hesitation as it scuttled into the portal and disappeared without a trace. Then, a crimson light, a blue light, and a purple light entered in succession. The 4 great disciples of the 4 Styles School took the initiative to enter the 4 Styles solitary path. The others no longer hesitated the moment they saw this. It was hard to shine at this moment if they continued to counter. Besides, they had the escape technique Talisman, so they could escape if worst came to worst. At the minimum, they had to see the 4 Styles solitary path, and they entered the portal in succession. Zhu Yueka nodded her head. Junior brother Su Xing, you be careful. Senior sister will go take a look first. Yang Yanyu smiled and also entered the 4 Styles solitary path. Su Xing also sprung forth, immediately entering the portal afterwards. Heaven and earth, yin and yang seemingly reversed. Su Xing had only just been standing firm when a hot wind aggressively bubbled forth, a hot wind like one blowing from a stove. His whole body immediately boiled, and his skin split open. Su Xing could be counted as having tasted the feeling of that time the monkey sun fell into the Most High Laozi's furnace. Perhaps, this was it. Su Xing furrowed his brow and looked around. The scene before him made Su Xing draw in a breath. In front of him was an enormous ravine constructed into an underground cavern. It was 1,000 meters tall and long enough that the end was not visible. The entire valley was of rolling lava, similar to a river of fire. Frightening magma released bubbles. Just the rising waves of heat was more than 1,000 degrees at the minimum. Just this made Su Xing somewhat unable to endure, which made the other cultivators even less worthy of mention. Ah, what the fuck is this place? Fire Eastern Island unexpectedly had this kind of lava river. So hot. This is practically more powerful than the heavenly clinging divine fire. Space flashed, and in the 400 to 500 meters near Su Xing appeared several dozen disciples. These disciples were far from having the sort of cultivation Su Xing had. Just the high heat of the lava river made them feel suffocated, intolerably hot all over. So this is the legendary Four Styles path. So mysterious. Wu Xinjie praised from within the star nest. The only ones accompanying Su Xing inside the star nest were only Wu Xinjie and Gong Sunhuang. Of the other four girls, Lin Yingmei and Yan Yizhen were seeking out materials to upgrade their star weapons. Shi Yuan and Ensuan were in the Immortals' abode working on the Five Poisons banner and making the 1,000-year tears of Empress Hua. Now that Maiden Mountain was being overbearing, with the evil smiting hall also imminent and taking advantage of the fact Su Xing was cultivating, Lin Yingmei and Yan Yizhen did not wish to be idle. You know of the Four Styles solitary path? Su Xing said. Xinjie heard it is commonly seen in many forbid dances and historical ruins. It is an extreme landscape where four types of different climates simultaneously appear. The Knowledge Star had read extensively across Liangshan. If they were to discuss something like the knowledge of historical remains, there was no one who could compare to her. This should be the lava path of fire. Wu Xinjie smiled. Young lord, you must be uneasy. What Zhu Yueka said was true, one wrong step is an unrecoverable calamity. Even the escape technique Talisman would not work. Never thought it would be this formidable. No wonder they spoke that grimly before. Su Xing sighed. Each step he took, he felt the surrounding air temperature seemingly rise by a degree. After taking 20 to 30 steps, Su Xing could no longer move forward, for the temperature truly was blazing. In addition, a gust or two of hot wind would blow over from time to time, making the skin upon his face faintly somewhat painful, and his entire body burn. Su Xing prepared to use his flying sword, but since this was experience, he feared the flying sword would not be that simple. Just as he hesitated indefinitely, the other disciples at this time did not think as deeply as Su Xing. Upon seeing that it was merely a river of lava, several disciples laughed aloud. It seems it is merely so. Immediately, they flew towards the river of lava on riding swords. Flying midway, there was a bang, and the lava suddenly erupted. A pillar of fire rushed out. That fire pillar was truly too fast, and everyone had not yet reacted. The disciples on their riding swords then turned into ashes, with not even any slag left. Fuck, these motherfuckers are too terrifying. Ah, junior brother. Can a person even pass this? The other disciples lost their heads out of fear and screamed. A few disciples with the weakest cultivations already could not bear the hot winds, and then seeing their fellow students die tragically without the slightest sound, they immediately used their escape technique talismans. The talisman lights flashed, and they disappeared from this place. Truly cowards. Where along the road of the cultivator can you relax? How can you accomplish anything major if you are so afraid of the slightest thing? A male cultivator shouted. His words made the others calm down. But we can't fly, how do we pass by this? At this time, he suddenly saw a youth unhurriedly leap onto a slab of stone on the lava river. He immediately shouted in pleasant surprise, "Still, that junior brother is brilliant. We only need to jump onto the stones floating in the lava river to cross. Since this is experience, these slabs surely cross this river. But what do we do if a column of flame were to overturn it?" That male cultivator was mute. He bitterly smiled. We had best first watch that junior brother then speak. Thus, a group of people just watched that youth nonchalantly jump on the slabs. He naturally was Su Xing. "Young lord, be careful," Wu Xinjie anxiously said. A mere trifle. When he was a soldier, Su Xing did not know how many hardships he endured, how many experiences he walked through. Naturally, he gained it in passing. Seeing this lava river was just as that male cultivator said, the stone slabs was the sole path to pass through the river. Even if the sea of fire were to rush, it could not. However, Su Xing did not dare be contemptuous. Retaining the fire spirit magic Sarira, the surrounding high temperatures were slowly absorbed. The high temperature of the lava river slowly warped, and the heat around his whole body immediately fell significantly. In addition, the fire spirit magic Sarira was increasingly red-hot, like a roasting fire. He never expected this lava river was a paradise to nurture the relic. Raising his head to watch the sky, he barely could make out an indistinct pitch black. After not being enveloped in a blaze, Su Xing did not hesitate to set out. The sole worry of using springboards on the lava river was the columns of flame that spouted between the slabs. This was the greatest test of the cultivators. If he was the slightest bit careless, he could fall into the sea of fire, vanish in a puff of smoke. Su Xing seized a flying sword for protection, not daring to be careless. The other cultivators followed when they saw this, but they were far from being as skilled as Su Xing, some dying under the sea of fire. By the time Su Xing had walked out several thousand meters, the other disciples had been left far behind by Su Xing. The cries inside the space were increasingly weak, and the first checkpoint unexpectedly stumped many star cultivators. Passing through the lava river with more fear than harm, he had not yet relaxed when a pile of rubble and a perfectly straight odd tree tall as half a person barred the way forward. There basically was not any road to walk. He could only unsteadily and slowly advance. Just as Su Xing walked the path of lava, Lin Yingmei and Yanizhen also walked along an extreme path. Twinkling ice crystals filled the sky, a very cold climate. Falling blossoms ghost kingdom, sun-binding mountain. 2. Lin Yingmei raised her head to glance at each other with Yanizhen, walking different ways. Sun-binding mountain had the materials to upgrade their star weapons. At this moment, Lin Yingmei alone ventured forth several hundred meters, suddenly sensing danger. Suddenly, a swift and severe air-shattering sound ripped. Lin Yingmei retreated, her long spear extended. Clang clang. The attack flourished in that instant. Practically at the time their metallic arms rang, a fog wrapped in a hurricane collided with Lin Yingmei's similar divine wind concealment long spear, giving rise to an enormous attack. The cold entirety of the flash shuddered, and a layer of ice was even more being raised. The newcomer was a figure wrapped in a white cloak. She released a fog, and the airflow on her blade concentrated into a sharp blade light, tearing the cold air to shreds. A burst of air distorted. The saber light had been shattered, and Lin Yingmei was just like light that faded away. When she appeared, she gave the opponent a dazzling sight. The spear already stabbed towards her foe. The opponent raised her sword to block this incoming strike. Hey! The spear suddenly disappeared, for Lin Yingmei already appeared abruptly in front of her opponent. There was an air-breaking radiance, and the opponent rolled away. You are a star general. Lin Yingmei creased her brow. She felt the attacker in front of her was somewhat familiar, as if she was a star general. Her opponent nevertheless indifferently smiled, a meaningful curve hooked on the corner of her mouth. I am about to be serious. If you are merely this level, you will immediately lose. The cloak concealed that face, so Lin Yingmei could not discern what the opponent's eyes were planning, but her whole body's imposing air had a completely opposite change. The weapon passing through the hurricane emitted a sharpness. Lin Yingmei could clearly feel her opponent was exceptional, but from the weapon's perspective she sensed, she was neither a prideful fighter nor angry. Rather, there was a sort of an indecipherable tranquility and a sort of leisure as if she was lifting weights. She was very formidable. Lin Yingmei cemented her determination, nevertheless not daring to be careless, and raised her spear. The light rays instantly ripped open. Weapons crossed. A hurricane wailed. The snowy cave shuddered. Two weapons each concealed by wind concealment divine stones crossed one another, spurting forth spear light and saber light incapable of being distinguished by the naked eye. The spear light exploded inside the caver, which was somewhat too much to take in, unrecoverable. The two weapons each hidden with wind concealment divine stones crossed one another, spurting forth spear light and saber light indistinguishable to the naked eye. The spear light exploded inside the cave, bringing a sharpness too much for the eyes, unrecoverable. Lin Yingmei made an ice-breaking shout, suddenly raising her spear to vertically slash. The newcomer waved her hand, and the formless weapon banged once again in a strike. In a split second, the ice cave boomed. The hurricane on the weapon dispersed instantly when it was struck by that impulse. Even the opponent's cloak fell apart in the blink of an eye, revealing a woman with a mature sex appeal like a fruit. Her purple hair was extremely breathtaking, and she had a pair of sharp, amber-colored pupils. A red armor tube top covered her towering chest, the surging of which would make women that saw jealous. Her snow white and the snowy scene in the surroundings fused together, revealing a wide expanse, laying it bare. The woman's hand clenched a very sharp long saber, the edge of which was clear just like crystal. The back of the blade was coiled with decorations like dragons yet not, like a phoenix yet not, sparkling as blood, circulating stars, making the starlight of the saber's blade very bright. The light rays were lustrous, and two stars glimmered on the saber. Dragon Sparrow Du Long Saber. The Fulfillment Star Lord of the Beautiful Beard Zhu Tong. 2. Lin Yingmei's expression sunk, and her hands tightly gripped the Arctic Star Serpent Spear. The Arctic Star Serpent Spear. Unexpectedly, it is majestic Star Panther Head Lin Chong. The Fulfillment Star said pensively. Her expression was very motherly. Is the Purple Thunder Monster not here? Your servant urges you to leave Sun-Binding Mountain with all possible haste. Humph. Lin Yingmei raised her spear, adopting an attack stance. The star general in front of her was not at all weak. On the contrary, she was worthy of Lin Yingmei facing her seriously. The woman shook her head, clenching the dragon sparrow Du Long saber. Just at this time, she suddenly heard a tender shout to the side. Aunt Monxiang. The fulfillment star immediately halted her attack and looked over in that direction. With a glance, she was stunned. She saw a figure clothed in a maid dress carrying a cute little girl towards them. The little girl was not just anyone, but Chai's Sakura. Little E. Lin Yingmei simultaneously spotted the skillful star. Yan Qing. Monxiang was also very surprised to see Yan Yizhen. Originally at Kagoshima, Yan Yizhen's master had once saved Chai's Sakura, so they could be considered familiar with one another. Chai's Sakura planted her head into Monxiang's billowing waves, rubbing her face among them in pleasure. Seeing the foreheads of the two had a flickering star crest, Lin Yingmei's brow wrinkled even more deeply. That man also came? Zhu Monxiang asked. Master did not come. Yan Yizhen indifferently replied. She walked to Lin Yingmei's side, calmly saying, We have met before. Zhu Monxiang showed a puzzled expression. What is this all about? Why did you attack Yingmei? Yan Yizhen clenched her fists, one leg forward, like a cheetah, her whole body stretched taut. Fulfillment star Zhu Monxiang broke into laughter. If your servant had known you two were familiar, your servant actually would not have meddled in your business. Did Wani-chan come to Sun-Binding Mountain for something? This place is very cold. Chai's Sakura opened her innocent eyes. She was draped in a noble fur cloak, wore a blaze belt and still she was frozen somewhat peskily. We have come to search for a few things. Lin Yingmei replied, ice cold. Chai's Sakura shivered again. Never thought that man unexpectedly was the Purple Thunder Monster. Truly completely different from the rumors, and he has two powerful star generals. The dragon sparrow Du Long saber was retracted. Zhu Monxiang kindly smiled, unlike an enemy, even more like an elder. Lin Yingmei and Yan Yizhen glanced at each other, and they each lowered their attack stances. You must have come to look for spirit jades and such to upgrade your star weapons? Zhu Manxiang calmly gazed at the two. Although Sun-Binding Mountain is extremely cold, it has very long been plundered clean by ghost martial cultivators. You perhaps will be disappointed. That cannot be helped. Lin Yingmei twitched her lips. What does little sister wish to find? Maybe your servant can help you. In the rankings, Lin Yingmei was Zhu Manxiang's elder sister. However, she indeed actually gave Lin Yingmei that sort of elder feeling. Ice Kite Arctic Jade. Lin Yingmei had yet to reply when Yanizhan stole the chance to speak first. Ice Kite Arctic Jade, your servant actually has some. That is indeed a must for the majestic star to advance to 3-star destined weapon. Zhu Manxiang changed the topic, but your servant once agreed to owe your master a favor. To respond is still a must. This Ice Kite Arctic Jade will be a gift to you. You truly will gift it to your servant? To give an opponent another layer of strength, from Lin Yingmei's perspective, this was a stupid thing to do, especially during the star duels. Zhu Manxiang lightly smiled. It seemed she was unconcerned with the star duels. 2 pieces of Ice Kite Arctic Jade fell before Lin Yingmei. Only 1 piece is enough. Lin Yingmei shook her head. Do not hesitate to take them. Your servant does not wish to owe the man a favor. Then as you please. Lin Yingmei did not like to be long-winded. She waved a hand and retrieved the 2 pieces of Ice Kite Arctic Jade. With this, she lacked 30 liang of silver snow sand to be able to upgrade her star weapon to 3-star. Zhu Manxiang nodded her head. It was bitterly cold, ice and frost everywhere, the north wind blowing 1,000 li cold. Truly, this was cold. Gazing at the scene in front of him, Su Xing only felt that his 4 limbs and all of his bones were cold. With great difficulty, he crossed the lava sea, and not more than 100 meters after that, the scene in front of him immediately jumped from the extreme of hot fire to another extreme. At this time, what appeared in front of Su Xing was the scene of 1,000 li frozen over. As far as the eye could see, whatever his line of sight landed on, sparkling and pure ice dripped. He could not hear the slightest sound, as if the wind had been frozen solid. The entire world was in a frozen state, the grasses and trees transformed into translucent ice sculptures. Cold light twinkled, with a sort of indescribable aesthetic and terror. Outside this entrance, there was an ice stele. It had been frozen with a layer 1 chi thick, yet the 3 characters under the stele were still clearly visible. The Quiet Path. 3. Quiet not just in name but in reality. If it was said that Su Xing previously was still complaining about the lava sea being too hot, now he felt that compared to the quiet path in front of him, he would rather return to a place as damnable as the lava sea. That place simply was a paradise, completely without chilly winds and snow, but there was a bone-chilling cold drilling through his skin, intruding into his meridians, organs and mind. Su Xing only felt staying for long would turn himself into an ice sculpture. Sensing that this was the quiet path's odd energy, Su Xing hastily operated the soul technique to make himself maintain a bottleneck state. Then, he put on the Arctic Star pendant Ju Yueka sent him while also swallowing the fire spirit magic Sarira. That bone-penetrating cold then finally ebbed. The 4 styles path truly is too abnormal. Su Xing spat out a cloud of mist. He rubbed his hands. I don't know how they made this sort of extreme environment. So pretty. Gongsun Huang left the star nest and sat on Su Xing's shoulder, showing an amazed expression. Indeed, it is very beautiful. Wu Xinjie also appeared. Such an extreme actually is rare. We really should have had the little sisters come take a look. Wow, too pretty. Unexpectedly, there was even this sort of place. We did not cross the lava path in vain. However, why is it this cold? Several shouts in the quiet path seemed very ear-piercing. Su Xing raised an eyebrow and saw many disciples had already passed the lava sea. Like him, they showed amazement when they saw a world completely made of ice. However, Liangshan's star cultivators forever lacked a sort of appreciative mood. Following the extreme cold of the quiet path intruding the bottom of their hearts, all of the disciples then began to complain and curse heaven. Su Xing directly entered the quiet path. The materials to upgrade Ying Mei and Little Yi's star weapons are required to be jades of extremely cold landscapes. This quiet path seems to have had several hundred years, so I wonder if there's anything they need. Su Xing muttered. Young lord can go look. Such cold is actually rare. Wu Xinjie could not bear it, shivered and entered the star nest. Gongsun Huang sniffled. Little Huang, go rest in the star nest first. Su Xing smiled. Gongsun Huang customarily kissed Su Xing's cheek and also entered the star nest. Su Xing raised a breath of air. Originally, he wanted to use Wandering the Clear Skies, but thinking this was too shocking, he used his flying sword. The quiet path was an extremely large canyon, limitless. There were even frozen towns, a world of ice and snow as far as the eye could see. Without a snowstorm, it was nevertheless even colder. The riding sword's speed also basically could not accelerate. It seems this four-styles school experience indeed was somewhat formidable, Su Xing pondered. Su Xing unfolded his huge divine intent. The quiet path's air had been frozen solid, and his divine intent could only spread within the surrounding 100 meters. This was the greatest effect of his divine intent. If it was any other cultivator, they perhaps would have to thank the heavens to extend their divine intent across a 10 meters. Su Xing began to use divine intent to scout the quiet path, to see whether or not there were any cold-type minerals and such. Su Xing searched as he pleased, not at all carrying too great a hope. His divine intent trembled, and Su Xing was amazed to spot an ice cliff. What is the matter, young lord? I used divine intent to search just now and encountered something. It froze me for a moment. Su Xing showed bewilderment. To still be able to freeze his divine intent when he possessed the Arctic Star Pendant and Fire Spirit magic relics was somewhat formidable. The riding sword descended, and Su Xing's divine intent rose. 2 pieces of thumb-sized stones floated in front of him. The stones were pale, their appearances completely lacking anything special. They appeared very ordinary, but these stones emitted an extreme cold. His divine intent was somewhat suffering damage. Su Xing immediately placed the stones in his palm, deeply inhaling. So incredible. Upon placing the stones in his hand, instantly, there was a deadly cold engulfed Su Xing's whole body. His consciousness instantly went blank, and he hastily imbued the Arctic Star Pendant and Fire Spirit magic relic with star energy in order to finally revive. That instant just now, he perhaps was about to suffer hidden damage. Clearly, it was more powerful than a few magic weapons and artifacts. This is Profound Silence Crystal. Su Xing discerned the background of this thing in front of him, somewhat gawking. Those known as tool refinement masters naturally needed to know every sort of material like the back of their hand. Su Xing knew of this Profound Silence Crystal from Heavenly Works Opening Objects. 5. This was a type of extremely powerful cold-type ore. It could forge powerful ice-type magic weapons, and this sort of stone could have a chance of forming only in extremely cold and windless environments. Furthermore, Profound Silence Crystal only needed a bit of refining to be able to be launched as a concealed weapon. Whatever ice it was, cultivators would be at a disadvantage should they touch it. In particular, it could instantly sever the divine intent of the cultivator being confronted. For this reason, it had been named Profound Silence Crystal. Su Xing's premonitions were correct, as expected. Places like this quiet path could not possibly have nothing. Ying Mei and Little Yi ought to be able to take it to refine their star weapons. Wu Xinjie surmised. The 3rd star Ice Kite Arctic Jade was far from comparison to the Profound Silence Crystal. In addition, every grade for Star General Star Weapon promotion was very precious. I think it should work. Su Xing hooked his lips, his expression cheerful. He looked around the quiet path. The ice plains were expansive, silent like pity. It seemed there would be a great harvest from this accidental opening of the Four Styles solitary path. The 15th Profound Silence Crystal. Su Xing moved his hand and yet another 2 pieces of Profound Silence crystal were discovered. This quiet path was a trip well worthwhile. Looking at his surroundings, he occasionally could see a few disciples fly by on riding swords, but not a single one was like Su Xing staying in the quiet path to search for things. It was not that they did not think of this, but rather that Su Xing really was too abnormal. Keeping upon him the 2 types of extreme cold defenses, the Arctic Star Pendant and the Fire Spirit Magic Sarira, how could the other disciples have such power? Even the disciples that came from Water Moon Peak could just barely get by. Wishing to quickly pass through this quiet path, why would they tarry? This actually gave Su Xing a very big opportunity. Young lord, will this not delay the matter with little sister Lianxin? Wu Xinjie somewhat anxiously said. Su Xing already had a plan. It's fine, I already told little sister Lianxin. Even if I'm not the first to cross, she won't contract. Ah. Anyways, by the time I get out, whoever wants to contract little sister Lianxin will have to then cross the checkpoint, that is me. Come to think of it, the headmaster wouldn't decline those who are capable. Su Xing chuckled. Wu Xinjie sweated. So shameless. A wolf's howl rose. The Su Xing currently using his divine intent to search was delighted. The quiet path had many demon beasts, and among them, the ice chief beasts were the most commonly seen type in the quiet path. Su Xing had encountered several. The places with ice chief beasts often had profound silence crystals. Following the sound, Su Xing immediately flew over. Instantly, he saw the origins of the sound. He saw more than a dozen wolf-like demon beasts, their fur white and their mouths releasing icy breath, surround a girl and howl with angry looks. This beast was known as Ice Chief, a demon beast commonly seen under extreme cold. Generally in a pack, there was a leader, and they were very difficult to deal with. The girl wearing a red robe was currently brandishing a burning fire dragon whip. In the world of the quiet path, the whip's cracks were ear-piercing, unceasingly burning. Among the large ice wolves was one very eye-catching, larger than ordinary ice chief beasts by a size. This was the ice chief beast's leader, Nirvana Ice Chief. 2. The Nirvana Ice Chief currently was continuously intertwined with the girl, spraying freezing ice, its sharp claws tearing at her. The other ice chief beasts circled at the side for an opening, not giving the girl the chance to escape. Every time the girl wanted to raise her riding sword to fly away, the Nirvana Ice Chief would suddenly fire a bolt of frigid ice, making her incapable of running anywhere. If it was not for her relying on that exceptional fire dragon whip magic weapon, the girl basically would be incapable of enduring. Since this was so, continuously waving it made her energy deplete. She is that crafty and unruly woman. Wu Xinjie said. The one that had been trapped was Ruan Hongxue. It was obvious she already was incapable, yet her not using the escape technique talisman truly was odd. Ruan Hongxue's small face was pale. The fire dragon whip and a dozen flying swords were nearby, but the burning had been incredibly sapped by the quiet path's environment. It completely lacked destructive power. In this sort of extremely cold environment, how could Ruan Hongxue be their opponent? When Su Xing saw this, he activated his sword chant. Does young lord want to go save her? N. Although this girl was very unruly, Su Xing was not that sort of person to watch with contempt. In Su Xing's perspective, Ruan Hongxue was just a still wet behind the ears miner, not worth lowering himself to argue with. If merely this was enough to make him feel the other party should die, that was a little vile. Roar! The Nirvana Ice Chief roared, spraying a cold wind. The snow wolves swished into a head-on attack. Ruan Hongxue cried out in panic, hastily controlling her flying swords to go block. The fire dragon whip in her hand raged, thrashing. In the end, she had insufficient experience. The Nirvana Ice Chief only sprayed the wind to make her exhaust her strength. The Nirvana Ice Chief swayed, and then it spouted several cold lights, striking Ruan Hongxue with no strength to resist. The other ice chief beasts also began to exert their strength. Ruan Hongxue's flying swords very quickly lost their spiritual powers and were broken one by one. The fire dragon whip gnashed. The Nirvana ice chief dodged to the side. Consecutively fighting in the quiet path had made Ruan Hongxue already completely spent. Showing a gap, the Nirvana ice chief seized onto the chance, spurting forth a cold light. Ruan Hongxue's whole body turned cold, as if her entire body had been frozen. The other ice chief beasts immediately pounced when they saw, about to rip Ruan Hongxue to shreds. The girl lost hope when she saw this. The shadow of a sword abruptly approached from the east, rushing before the ice chief beasts and shooting in front of her. The sword's power divided, becoming countless sword images that densely packed the surroundings. Those ice chief beasts could not approach her, continuously attacking the swords. Su Xing wiped his cold sweat. On the whole, he had rushed as fast as he could, and he had not expected the magic sealing sword could be used like this. However, confronting these ice chief beasts was still doable. Confronting the other cultivators, it would be very easy to erase the divine sense of the magic sealing sword, to steal it from him. Roar! The Nirvana ice chief once again spat out freezing ice, and the other ice chief beasts discovered Su Xing also was aiming an attack at them. Su Xing's 10 fingers flicked. Several purple lotus flowers shot out. The ice chief beasts immediately yelped and were blown flying upon contact. It was a pity that the golden flying swords could not be used and were still being nurtured. Otherwise, handling these ice chief beasts actually would be easy. However, relying on Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder was also enough to spare. The blade-like winds whooshed, slamming into the Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder, then becoming formless without the least bit of sound. Su Xing's gaze shifted, and the Nirvana ice chief spat out cold light and wind, a soundless cold intent pressing in from all sides. The surrounding air seemingly turned even colder. Flying swords no longer listened to order, falling down. There was a violent air-breaking noise. The Nirvana ice chief already darted and pounced over, the fur on its whole body raised, terrifyingly pale. Su Xing curled his lips. He lazily flipped his hand, revealing the intertwined branch sword, forging onwards like this. Its body flipped in midair, and the Nirvana ice chief's claw already scratched at Su Xing's cranium. The bone-penetrating chill rapidly spread through his limbs and throughout his whole body. Su Xing did not mind this situation in the slightest. His figure indistinctly moved, and the intertwined branch sword already pierced into the Nirvana ice chief's body. Before blood even sprayed, it had been frozen. Su Xing's attacks fiercely dropped in succession like raindrops. His limbs let the ice-cold figure sweep over, firmly sticking onto the Nirvana ice chief without the slightest bit of loosening. His berserk attack stirred a great amount of dust that shot everywhere. Shined upon by the cold light in midair, it emitted a brilliant white light. The Nirvana ice chief probably did not expect there would be a cultivator that surprisingly dared to get close. Getting back several paces, it made a sharp howl, and an ice-cold light madly rushed forth from its mouth, directly towards the face of Su Xing just within its reach. The cold light suddenly surrounded Su Xing's body, twisting madly like a myriad of swords. At the same time the cold light dispersed, the Nirvana ice chief that thought it grasped victory was nevertheless stunned. 12 golden swords hovered around Su Xing, blocking its deadly cold light like a shield. The golden light rays were dim, but the might they vaguely distributed still made the Nirvana ice chief feel fear. Young lord, this Nirvana ice chief is a 6th rank demon beast. You can unexpectedly contend with this sort of demon beast. Wu Xinjie was speechless. I'm used to it. Due to Su Xing inheriting Lin Yingmei's battle doctrine, he fundamentally was still fond of this sort of battle. Of course, there was another reason, and that was he did not discount the possibility of being able to face star generals in the future. The 12 flying swords revolved, suddenly advancing. The golden light gathered, and the other ice chief beasts were then slain. The Nirvana Ice Chief's cold fur released a bone-chilling cold, just like a prehistoric ice beast. Its breath quickly condensed and swelled, and the suppressed low howl in its throat was continuously released. It arched its body, suddenly pouncing at Su Xing's 6th-rank demon beast. Any way it was put, that was still equivalent to galaxy late-stage cultivation. The silent space transmitted an enormous ripping feeling. The entire ice plains nearly became the realm of the Nirvana Ice Chief. The cold air incessantly emitted from its body made average cultivators completely lack ways to approach. The sharp shadows even more became its fierce weapons. The huge body leapt in midair, as if it could not do without tearing Su Xing to shreds. In this moment, the Nirvana Ice Chief completely displayed a 6th-rank demon beast's air of leadership. A pair of transparent eyes were like crystals. The eyes seemingly full of bone-chilling cold shattered with countless pieces of ice that were shot out. Su Xing clicked his tongue. Judging from the Nirvana Ice Chief's appearance, perhaps Heaven Tearing was about to be struck with misfortune. Su Xing did not want to once again suffer damage. His figure dove, immediately using the innate Bagua shield. The sharp claws and fangs missed by a hair's breadth, bringing wind pressure but nevertheless not even getting close to Su Xing. The Nirvana Ice Chief's repeated attacks interchanged, only obtaining large amounts of ice fragments with its failures. The original objective nevertheless could not be reached one bit. Although its powers already reached the limits of what it could achieve, it actually had no effect in the slightest. Suddenly, it stopped. Its chafing, ear-piercing voice poured into Su Xing's ears. The Nirvana Ice Chief's enormous body already stiffened to a stop. Following that, the countless cold hairs on its body instantly fired like bullets. An ear-piercing air-ripping sound filled the air, and numerous icicles enveloped all spaces that Su Xing could dodge towards, without the slightest gap. Along with the launching of icicles, its large mouth once again opened, and inside was an ice-cold ball of light. Just at this moment, a purple thunderbolt shot out from Su Xing's fingers. Purple Thunder Dragon Slaying. The purple thunder linked together, fiercely shooting into the Nirvana Ice Chief's mouth. The ice-cold light was immediately swallowed into its stomach with a whine, the purple thunder exploding inside its belly. The golden sword spun to block this icicle. Su Xing then pointed, and sword chi became threads that transformed into a giant edge, slashing towards the Nirvana Ice Chief. The Nirvana Ice Chief wailed, breaking into a run to escape. Su Xing was not ruthless. Allowing it to run 100 meters, only then did he slowly give chase. What is going on? The Hongshuo wrapped in the magic sealing swords could only see lights beyond the sword shadows, not knowing what was happening, but from the sounds, she could determine the profound Ice Wolf King seemingly was being trampled on. Hongshuo truly had the mind to devote herself to her savior. Always clenching tight her fist for morale, a moment later, the Wolf King apparently ran away, its sounds gradually fading. Hongshuo sighed in relief, but waiting for a long time and not seeing the one who had come undo these weird flying swords, Hongshuo who had just experienced a life and death calamity did not dare erase the divine intent on the flying swords. Idly, she waited like this, between heaven and earth, a moment of silence. Long afterwards, Hongshuo rubbed his nose, feeling as if she was about to faint. Just at this moment, suddenly, the densely packed swords around her were retracted layer by layer. I can see your chest is not big, but how are you this brainless? Foolishly staying here, could it be you do not know you were supposed to use the escape technique Talisman to run away? A powerless voice chided. You dare scold this young lady? Hongshuo previously still had some gratitude, but hearing her counterpart surprisingly dare to lecture her like this, she immediately was angered. What is the matter? Not only do I scold you, do you not believe I would not dare spank you? Su Xing seemingly smiled yet did not. Hongshuo was dumbstruck upon seeing Su Xing. Why are you the one that saved me? Any way you put it, you are my junior sister. Senior brother is not so rude like you. Quickly leave on your own. It seems you will be unable to cross to the next checkpoints. Do not find yourself any more trouble. Su Xing's face had an expression of not wanting to lower himself to her level written upon it as he turned and left. Taking several steps, Su Xing rarely did not hear Wan Hongshue's fiery temper explode. Could it be said that the silent path wore down her temper? This actually was strange. Su Xing turned his head, finding Wan Hongxue standing on the plains, not saying anything. She looked at herself like this, her face very pale. Her body tottered, clearly about to be unable to support herself. Could it be you truly want to court death? Su Xing's tone sunk, somewhat severe. Tsunders ought to have a limit. Being yelled at by Su Xing like this, Wan Hongxue was startled. She rubbed her nose as if she was a meek and pitiful lamb facing a hungry wolf. My escape talisman is gone, ah. Su Xing was powerless, once again walking in front of her. Wan Hongxue was somewhat afraid of Su Xing, retreating several steps. You do not have one. It was destroyed by that demon beast. Wan Hongxue replied. Su Xing clearly understood. As he said, how could Wan Hongxue be this brainless? About to become lunch in a hungry wolf's belly, she still went all out to resist. She truly thought she was as abnormal as Su Xing was, capable of killing the Nirvana Ice Chief. Take it. Su Xing did not even need to think and gave his escape technique talisman to Wan Hongxue. The girl was very surprised and very anxious. Are you not using it? I indeed want to marry little sister Lianxin. I naturally can walk this 4 styles solitary path to the end. I have no use holding on to it. Su Xing did not believe he would. You truly want to go participate in the star duels? Wan Hongxue was even more astonished. Su Xing was not very receptive of her response. Could it be his participation in the star duels was a very ridiculous matter? No matter what was said, he did have 6 little sisters. Seeing that Su Xing was somewhat disdainful, Wan Hongxue stammered an explanation. She is only the solitary star. You participating is only going to your death. The star duels have that many sets. Su Xing smiled. What, Wan Hongxue, were you not eager for me to go die 100 times? Unexpectedly, you would be concerned that I want to participate in the star duels? Wan Hongxue was taken aback. Her face stifled in a thorough red. She glared with her eyes, snatched the escape technique talisman, again resuming her habitual domineering attitude. This young lady saw you save me that I would kindly warn you. Seeing your completely clueless appearance, still going to participate in the star duels, you definitely will regret it. Alright, you ought to quickly leave. Su Xing nodded, not wanting to delay here with her too long. Wan Hongxue pursed her lips, not too happy about Su Xing's impatient appearance, taking Wan Hongxue to be pretty as a flower. If he was a man, even if he was not aroused, things would not be as bad as to that he would feel impatient. However, from the several times they ran into each other, she knew the man in front of her could not be judged with common sense. You take this. Wan Hongxue pushed out her 2 hands, pushing 2 items to Su Xing's front. In her left hand was a pearl, and her right hand had the fire dragon whip. Su Xing wrinkled her brow. I, Wan Hongxue, do not wish to owe a favor to a man as loathsome as you. You saved me and even gave me an escape technique talisman. This wind-settling pearl and fire dragon whip will be lent to you for use. So as not to have you blame me for taking your escape technique talisman when you do not get out of and die in the 4 styles solitary path, becoming an evil spirit to haunt me. Wan Hongxue snorted, throwing her head to the side. Then I shall help myself. Su Xing took the 2 items. He knew that if he declined anyways, this little girl's heart certainly would be dissatisfied. You had a wind-settling pearl. As expected of Wan Hongxue. Su Xing looked at this pearl, its entire body brilliant, a cool breeze blowing gently, but it was a powerful spirit treasure, capable of avoiding evil winds. This is, Wan Hongxue spoke halfway when she turned her eyes and said, I picked this up in the silent path. However, this is only lent to you until you complete the 4 styles solitary path. You have to return it to me when you come out. N. The wind-settling pearl was a precious spirit treasure. No one would so easily give it to another. Seeing that the silent path was devoid of anyone, even if Su Xing killed Ruan Hongxue right now to steal the wind-settling pearl, no one would sense it. However, Su Xing disdained doing this sort of shady business. Ruan Hongxue stared at Su Xing, snorted, and pinched apart the talisman. Suddenly, she disappeared from the plains, leaving the silent path. This Ruan Hongxue is a bit tsundere, but her heart is not very bad. Su Xing said. He, has young lord taken a fancy to her? Wu Xinjie teased him in reply. Su Xing rolled his eyes at her. Why would I take a fancy to her? Although your young lord is somewhat unfaithful, he still is not fickle in love. 2. Wu Xinjie giggled. The silent path honestly was too big. Su Xing navigated through half of it and really did not have time to continue. No longer did he search for profound silence crystal. However, even so, his harvest also was bountiful. He checked his astral bag. 52 pieces of profound silence crystal could be considered excessive beyond the limit. To sell these, the value was more than 10 billion. There was still a Nirvana Ice Chief's soul, and giving it to Shi Yuan to refine into a puppet beast was just right. Besides this, there was also the Fire Dragon Whip and Wind-Settling Pearl that Ruan Hongxue lent. To Su Xing, the Fire Dragon Whip was not at all useful, but this Wind-Settling Pearl perhaps would be a divine item to cross the 4 styles solitary paths, Path of Wind. Pondering for a moment, Su Xing stood up and walked down the next path. The 4 styles solitary path's third path was known as Angry Destruction Path. 3. The sky rumbled with rolls of thunder, bursting out with flame from time to time. The thunder and lightning were just like peeping fire dragons rolling amidst the overcast clouds, spitting out their breath, ready at any time to attack. There was basically no doubt that as long as a cultivator used riding sword flight, these heavenly thunders would strike the cultivator into ash without the slightest hesitation. Su Xing reacted. The Angry Destruction Path's air was pervaded with a static electricity-like substance. Every step was extremely exhausting for his strength, as if he was walking through a marsh, unable to move a single step. If it could be said that the lava path tested a cultivator's judgment and reactions in the face of death, that the silent path tested a cultivator's willpower, then the Angry Destruction Path tested a cultivator's endurance. To go forward in the extreme electricity, cultivators of low cultivation simply would find it intolerable. At this time, Su Xing nearly could not spot any other disciples. The Angry Destruction Path was a deathly stillness, absolutely empty. The sounds of thunder rolled with an increasing malevolence. Su Xing circulated Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. Just by cultivating this sort of thunder magic, to Su Xing, this did not count as a threat. After a short while, Su Xing already proceeded more than halfway. From the front suddenly came the sounds of clanging weapons in battle. Su Xing slowed his pace, using the oneness of heaven and man to sneak over. Turning a corner, Su Xing promptly saw 2 figures currently battling a python at an open space ahead. That python was 3 zhang long, its entire body was thick as a bucket and a gloomy green. Its snake eyes released light, and its mouth spat a green light to fight the 2 cultivators. Those 2 cultivators were not just anyone. They were the 4 styles school's 4 great disciples, Yi Jun and Song Wanji. The Green Thunder Python. Su Xing recognized the history of this python. It was only a 4th-rank demon beast, however, it seemed that Yi Jun and Song Wanji nevertheless fought with everything they had. Su Xing could tell these 2 apparently were secretly thinking of breaking through the python, as if there was something behind it. Su Xing used sea mountains as mountains, sea rivers as rivers, breaking out into laughter. On a tree behind the Green Thunder Python was an awe-inspiring skeleton. That skeleton was like a person's, with only half the body, but a gray jade was embedded in the middle of the skill. This jade's light was dim, but it vaguely emitted a primordial spirit chi. Cultivators with only some experience could tell at a glance this item unexpectedly was an ancient lost treasure. Cultivators of supercluster stage and lower were incapable of using and refining magic weapons, but there was an exception. Lost treasures were the prototypes of magic weapons. Cultivators of any stage could use them. So long as it was refined, it would be a magic weapon. An ancient lost treasure could only be found, not requested for. No wonder Yi-jun and Song Wanji battled so earnestly. He saw the two each control a light blue flying sword to pincer attack the left and right. Occasionally, Song Wanji also would extend several water thread magic to coil around the green thunder python. Yi-jun also used thunder roll magic, and the moment the thunder was touched, it burst forth with lightning. The cultivations of the four style school's four great disciples were very high. The most primary cause was that they did not participate in tool refinement at all. Originally, the Four Styles School was a tool refinement great sect, but by doing so, cultivation advancement was very slow. For example, the heads of the four spirit peaks were no more than galaxy late stage. Afterwards, the Four Styles School also figured out tool refinement was not a way forward. They vigorously cultivated a few elite disciples, Yi-jun and Song Wanji among them. The cultivation of these two were both galaxy late stage. It was just that although their cultivations were high, their tool refinement arms were almost mediocre, so it was no wonder Yi-jun and Song Wanji wanted that ancient lost treasure to refine into a magic weapon. Under the teamwork of the two, the green thunder python retreated little by little. It suddenly coiled and rolled, extended its venomous fangs, spraying a thunderlight that filled the skies. The two calmly and promptly raised defensive item, enveloping them in a dim blue light cover. The thunderlight had a corrosive toxicity that unexpectedly corroded that item the moment it touched the barrier. Seeing the light screen on the verge of collapse, Yi-jun coldly snorted, immediately forming a hand seal. The flying swords formed an array, and sword chi-like threads tore apart the green thunder python's green light and shot onto its body. The green thunder python let loose a scream. Seeing things turn for the worse, it wanted to flee. At this time, how would they give it the chance? Song Wanji shouted, unleashing a dark blue ribbon. That ribbon was like a fleeting wave of water, firmly wrapping around the green thunder python. Yi-jun at the same time flung out a 3 cun long iron nail. This nail suddenly enlarged, taking advantage of that green thunder python's energy being greatly harmed by the chops of the flying sword. It could not move in the slightest, and the nail approached 7 cun, firmly fastening the green thunder python. Several flying swords twisted, and the green thunder python's snake head suddenly was severed, exploding with a heap of thunder light and green blood. It forced Yi-jun and Song Wanji to take a step back. Song Wanji recalled the water light damask, 5, her expression delighted as she flew quickly towards the skeleton on that tree. Just at this time, there was a sudden change. The 7 cun nail originally stuck abruptly moved towards Song Wanji. At the same time, Thunderlight also approached. Song Wanji seemingly already had prepared for this, her reactions extremely quick. She waved a sleeve, and a water ball washed away the nail. Just as Song Wanji was about to be furious, she suddenly felt a cold wind attack her from behind. A talisman flew out, and a figure like a water shadow rippled. The Thunderlight flying sword then pierced through that doppelganger. Yi-jun, what are you doing? Song Wanji's almond eyes opened wide, indignantly watching the sneak-attacking man. The flying swords once again attacked. Song Wanji also controlled her flying swords into an offensive, her eyes gazing at that skeleton and leaking unwillingness to lose. Junior sister, we discovered that ancient lost treasure at the same time. That Nüwa jade, 6, is so precious. Thinking of consuming it by yourself, that is not too good, is it? Yi-jun sinisterly smiled, also rushing for the bones in the tree. Su Xing watched and sighed. Unexpectedly, they would kill their own compatriots for an ancient lost treasure. Nüwa jade. Wu Xinjie cried out in shock from within the star nest. Is this lost treasure very incredible? Liangshan continent's lost treasures were too numerous. Su Xing could not possibly know them all, so he asked this. Far more than that crying infant. This Nüwa Jade is an exceptional magic weapon capable of matching supercluster stage. Wu Xinjie explained. Every stage of a star cultivator was a threshold. Let alone that Song Wanji and Yi Jun were galaxy late stage, to turn from galaxy to supercluster was hard to achieve without more than 10 years. This was also why Liangshan continent chased after star cultivators. Because they had contracted star generals, their star energies and innate talents would progress very quickly. Their realms also would be very easily broken through. No wonder that the Song Wanji and Yi Jun that appeared to be on very good terms would fall out with each other. A magic weapon that could match up against a supercluster ancestor was honestly too great a help to them. People were all selfish, but Su Xing believed that it was possible for people to not offend one another. Even that spirit treasure, wind-settling pearl, of Ruan Hongxue was beneath his dignity to steal, but should he encounter 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo, he still would have the idea to help himself to that. Now that Maiden Mountain already was overbearing, any one supreme-grade magic weapon was good. Still, magic medicines were bargaining chips when facing Maiden Mountain's revenge in the future. His reflection was fleeting, and Su Xing had his way of thinking. Young lord, giving them such a good thing honestly is too wasteful. Wu Xinjie stole a grin. Worthy of the title, woman of loose morals, his and her ways of thinking were the same. On the other side, Song Wanji and Yi Jun battled, not expecting there would be a third faction. Yi Jun rushed for the Nüwa Jade. Song Wanji's water light damask rolled, shooting out light rays that forced Yi Jun back. Their cultivations were the same, and they were also very familiar with one another. If they truly were to fight, it was unknown who would triumph over the other. For the sake of an ancient lost treasure, senior brother Yi Jun would want to kill his own fellow? Song Wanji really is disappointed. Song Wanji smiled very gently. Humph. Yi Jun disdainfully said, Song Wanji, stop speaking nonsense. If you do not want internecine strife, you need only yield to your servant. Then, we shall see each of our own abilities. Song Wanji's face was covered in frost. This is just right. The able shall take it, so as to avoid injuring our camaraderie. Yi Jun craftily smiled. Song Wanji's expression was not at all sightly. She knew that Yi Jun cultivated a thunder-type cultivation method. In this angry destruction path, he had taken a big advantage. At present, Song Wanji's magic energy was quickly exhausting. She did not dare be too trusting. Coldly shouting, she struck hand seals. Several soft incantations faintly left her lips. In her hand appeared a jade wave blue banner. Song Wanji shook the banner, and it fired a dozen translucent snow-white ice spears, fiercely pouncing towards Yi Jun. Yi Jun raised a hand. A giant yellow thunderblade shot out from his wrist, instantly shattering the sneak-attacking ice spears with a palipala. 2. Without slowing one bit, it shot directly in the direction of Song Wanji in a swift attack. The thunderlight brushed past Song Wanji in a thrilling arc, which put the girl in an incomparably difficult situation. Song Wanji was greatly angered. What a good Yi Jun, unexpectedly using Thunder Roll Edge. 3. Could it be you want to kill even little sister? The banner in her hand shook. At the same time, the ground beneath Yi Jun all of a sudden became a pool of seawater. Suddenly, an ice-cold blue beam of light violently shot out. Because the speed was too quick and the distance too short, Yi Jun simply was too late to dodge. He had no choice as his expression slightly changed to greatly flourish the thunder light up and down his body to directly resist. Humph, does your icy banner not also wish to send me directly to death? Under the attack of blue light, Yi Jun was beaten into staggering forward a couple steps. Somewhat staggering, he stood unsteadily. Yi Jun also showed a furious expression. His hand struck a hand seal. Green light flashed, and more than a dozen flying swords shot out a lightning net that covered Song Wanji's flying swords. Then, the net became a sharp sword chi that ruthlessly covered towards Song Wanji. Song Wanji once again threw out an artifact to greet it. But just at this time, there was the boom of thunder. Yi Jun used an escape technique and suddenly appeared to the side of Song Wanji. His two hands tightly grasped a thunder roll edge, ferociously making a slanted slash. Song Wanji was startled. In a flurry, she used the water waves Damask 5 to go block him. The blue waves barrier protecting her body reacted instantly and suddenly swelled to directly receive Yi Jun's giant sword. Yi Jun coldly chuckled. His figure unexpectedly faded from view right before her, and from every direction came an air-breaking sound of puffs. More than a dozen lightning strings thin as bowstrings suddenly appeared in the surroundings, simultaneously stabbing forth violently. Song Wanji knew that Yi Jun had a heart-piercing Garrison Thunder 6 ability. She was fully aware of its might, and she did not dare receive it directly. The water waves Damask rolled out gleaming and rippling barrier, enveloping Song Wanji within. With an enormous bang, the thunder roll edge slashed onto the barrier. The lightning bolts made the rippling waves immediately rock, and then more than 10 bolts of thunder and lightning, like venomous snakes, oddly squeezed into the waves. Together, they penetrated several chi, still ferociously drilling forwards, even breaking through several layers. Song Wanji was startled and furious. Her eyes flashed a cold light. She raised a hand and felt for her astral bag. She felt out a completely blue talisman. This talisman disintegrated, and there was a specter of blue light. The heart-piercing Garrison Thunder broke the layers of defenses and flying swords. The thunder roll edge followed afterwards in succession to slash Song Wanji. Shattering with a walla, too, Song Wanji dispersed like a reflection in water. The Mirror Image Talisman. 8. Song Wanji, never expected that you would have this kind of rare talisman. Yi Jun turned around, waving his hand. The sneak attack of the Song Wanji that appeared behind him was immediately jolted apart. Afterwards, thunderlight struck, sending Song Wanji back several dozen meters, vomiting blood. The mirror image talisman made a phantom of the caster appear on the opposite side. It was capable of confusing the enemy at a moment of crisis. Yi Jun knew of this talisman's use, so Song Wanji's sneak attack naturally completely lacked usefulness. The attack methods of the thunder magic Yi Jun cultivated were very incredible. Song Wanji's water moon peak majored in water magic that was at a disadvantage. How could she be an opponent? Not one of her attacks was effective, and to continue thinking of defeating Yi Jun simply was not too possible. Yi Jun's hand grasped the thunder roll edge, his flying sword stirred, and the heart-piercing Garrison Thunder tied into a net that blocked Song Wanji's path, about to kill her in a spurt of energy. Song Wanji was furious. Could it be you actually want to kill a little sister for the Nüwa Jade? Yi Jun made a crooked grin. Then I ask that junior sister be tactful. Just at this moment, a mocking voice interrupted them. Killing one of your own for a lost treasure, this bargaining chip for betrayal is rather too low. The two were shocked. Casting a glance, they did not know when Su Xing appeared on that tree branch. That Nüwa Jade that made them fight was already being fiddled around within his palm. As a result of them being too absorbed in their battle, the two of them completely did not notice Su Xing. Junior brother, this is not your thing. Quickly turn it over to senior brother. Yi Jun's voice sunk, his tone strict. His eyes showed an ominous glint. That expression seemed about to swallow Su Xing at any time. The capable have reservations. If you want it, come take it yourself. Su Xing stored away the Nüwa Jade, speaking without the slightest bit of courtesy. Courting death. Yi Jun furiously said. The heart-piercing Garrison Thunder, Thunder Roll Edge and Flying Swords did ruthlessly went to greet Su Xing. Su Xing had already made preparations. Purple lightning jumped along his 10 fingers. First was an innate Bagua escape technique to dodge the attack. Leaning his body to evade, his fingers immediately flicked, and the purple thunder of his hands formed a dragon whose sharp claws slashed towards Yi Jun. Although Yi-jun was able to react, the heart-piercing garrison thunder and thunder roll edge were slow a step. The flying swords were ripped apart by the purple lightning dragon claw. The remaining bolt and claw directly seized Yi-jun. The Five Spirits Law Heavenly Book's magic was exceptionally fierce. The artifacts protecting his body immediately broke, sending him out 100 meters. Yi-jun screamed, his entire body incessantly twitching in pain. Su Xing had not expected the Five Claws dragon capture to be this powerful. Just as Yi-jun was about to climb up, Su Xing gestured with his hand. A bolt of purple thunder struck, blasting Yi-jun nearly unconscious. Then, Su Xing turned his wrist once more, bringing the fire dragon whip to his hand. His star energy concentrated, and the whip suddenly blazed with flame, transforming into a dragon that directly pulled apart the heart-piercing garrison thunder, jolting the flying swords. The fire dragon tossed about. Yi-jun's complexion was pale, just like he had no margin for resistance. Ah! The fire dragon whip? Song Wanji was dumbfounded. How do you have junior sister Hongshua's astral treasure? I ought to deliver justice on the behalf of heaven against scum like yourself. But forget it. I am not any sort of envoy of justice, so as to avoid me earning the reputation of killing my own. Su Xing chuckled. The whip left Yi-jun's cheek. Yi-jun got up with difficulty, staring at Su Xing with matchless hatred. His hands formed a seal, and his flying swords shot forth. Purple lightning wrapped up the flying swords. Su Xing did not expect Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder would be used so smoothly. A good trick. Yi-jun's expression changed, also discerning that Su Xing's Purple Thunder ability was out of the ordinary. Yi-jun is in admiration. Master Aunt Ju Yueka is amazing as expected, that junior brother would unexpectedly have such power. Su Xing shrugged. Yi-jun knew that he was not an opponent, not delaying anymore. He coldly glanced at the aloof Song Wanji to the side. Junior sister Wanji, I offended you just now. I ask that you do not mind. Song Wanji indifferently snorted from her nostrils. Yi-jun used the escape technique Talisman and left the area. Many thanks to junior brother for saving Wanji's life. Song Wanji smiled widely. I just cannot bear to see internecine strife. Su Xing was unconcerned. Song Wanji's eyes had an odd expression. She slightly smiled. Junior brother truly is taciturn. It seems senior sister's previous words courted disgrace upon herself. Junior brother defeated Yi-jun in one strike just now. It appears this school truly has fortune in the star duels. Su Xing smiled. Are you still able to walk the final path? Song Wanji shook her head. Her magic energy was considerably expended, especially when the next one was wind. She simply could not go on, and she wanted to leave. Su Xing suddenly called out, right, senior sister. Can you sell junior brother some copies of that talisman you used just now? Su Xing recalled the mirror image water shadow talisman Song Wanji used just now. In a critical moment, it honestly was a pretty good life-saving trick. The mirror image talisman. Junior brother, if you want it, take it. Take it as a favor of gratitude for junior brother's actions, and also take it as a helping hand for junior brother's participation in the star duels. Song Wanji smiled. She took out 5 mirror image talismans. Although the mirror image talisman was a high-grade talisman, refining this talisman was nevertheless very troublesome. It was always very rare. Song Wanji's mirror image talismans were also found inside a ruin. As far as Song Wanji was concerned, though the mirror image talisman was good, it actually was very rarely used. She might as well sell it for a favor. She could see that the junior brother in front of her was a character that had boundless prospects. Many thanks to senior sister. Su Xing nodded his head. Song Wanji sweetly smiled, and with a ripple, she left. Su Xing took a fancy for the mirror image talisman also because he wanted to give his beautiful girls a measure of self-preservation. Although the star nest rendered them indestructible, dying once was still unbearable. Next up should be going to the last one of the 4 styles solitary path. Su Xing took a deep breath, finally about to reach the end. Her fresh bun flowed, her gown dragged along the floor, her supple but shifted, and her delicate steps were graceful. The noble star little whirlwind Chai Ling was half charming, half grand. She walked into the purple firmament palace, the palace that was the treasure house of the noble stars. Despite that the little whirlwind placed herself outside the star duels, it was just a pity that although these treasures were good, she nevertheless was unable to participate in the star duels. Every star maiden could only wear 2 astral treasures, otherwise, Chai Ling would be very willing to demonstrate the result of Maiden Mountain star duels by using astral treasures. The purple firmament palace's purple clouds puffed, light rays blazed, and a 10-colored treasure chi flowed. The entire treasure house was more than too, with glazed floors, a passage to the top, and large, magnificent crystal podiums lined the sides. The crystal podiums were bright and limpid. Each had an astral treasure placed upon it, with some even having prehistoric spirit treasures, magic weapons and such. These podiums altogether numbering more than 100 had invaluable magic weapons in excess of 100. Their magnificence could be clearly seen, and these podiums had forbid dances protecting them. Other than Chai Ling's star crest of the noble star, no one could undo them. Chai Ling gracefully stepped silently inside the purple firmament palace. There was a slightly charming expression out of the corner of her eye, briefly glancing at each treasure on the podiums. Gourds, paintings, blades, jade bottles, clubs, ancient texts, spirit trees, banners, bells and zither, rings, there was nothing she did not have. Dazzling the eyes, Chai Ling slightly contemplated. Her gaze flit across them one by one, not at all stopping over for too long among these treasures. I say, Chai Ling, sooner or later there will come a day when this purple firmament palace of yours will become Liangshan's public enemy. A lazy voice came from the purple firmament palace's entrance. Chai Ling did not stop wandering around. Her fingers played with her blue hair, and her gait was graceful. Kong Ho, what nonsense do you speak of? Even this palace can only help the needy for justice, take 2 things from this purple firmament palace every phase. If they can do so, this palace actually would be happy to see that. You used help the needy for justice once during the birth outline to lend that man 10 billion. You also want to obtain 2 astral treasures for the sake of that man for the current evil smiting hall phase? Kong Ho mockingly evaluated. Little whirlwind, are you moved? Chai Ling's golden thread feather fan covered her red lips, sneering, Kong Ho, you truly are becoming more and more interesting. Tell the truth. You truly want to go to the evil smiting hall? Kong Ho showed a serious expression. Chai Ling knew what she was worrying about. Because of the red ink iron certificate, the noble star was spared from the star duels, but if she were to enter the evil smiting hall, then she could not use the red ink iron certificate. Otherwise, even if she participated in the star duels, rather, in the case that she did participate in the star duels, it seemed her immense wealth was not something Chai Ling could use. At that time, she inevitably would be all alone in the world. Besides, the red ink iron certificate definitely would become the star weapon that star masters wanted to seize. After all, for those that possessed the red ink iron certificate, although they could not prevent death, it could become a death avoidance gold plate to pass through a calamity. With such an enticement, Kong Ho truly did not believe that in the "you die and I live" star duels, no one would not be moved. I heard you and that man ate the together to hell, but if it were me, I definitely would kill you and take your red ink iron certificate to avoid this disaster. Chai Ling was pensive, seemingly smiling yet now, truly brilliant. The queen was silent. She turned around and looked through the magic weapons on the podiums as before. What sort of magic weapons should this palace choose? Seeing you throw yourself into a man's bosom like this truly makes your servant feel heartbroken, ya. Kong Ho faced upwards and sighed. Chai Ling did not mind her, she lightly stepped about, glancing at one podium's jewelry. This jewelry consisted of 2 wrist bracelets, a frontlet, and 2 leg bracelets. Their designs were inlaid with moons and embedded with stars, beautiful to the extreme. Due to being under a forbid dance, Chai Ling could not discern the full details, but that gorgeous appearance made Chai Ling quite stirred, seeing that it had stars and moons. Come to think of it, 80% of the things were astral treasures. Thinking more, Chai Ling activated her star crest and saw the star platform forbid dance release. A rich star spirit chi sword. Chai Ling gestured with her hands, and the 5 pieces of jewelry floated. She injected her divine intent, the little whirlwind's eyes glowing. Moon seizing star taking. 3. This palace actually likes it. The 5 decorations scattered, attaching onto Chai Ling's wrists, ankles and forehead. The jewelry's starlight twinkled, flowing light like a river. It made the originally grand noble star appear even more too high to reach. Even Emperor Liang would be slightly inferior. Chai Ling was satisfied, then again went searching for the last astral treasure. At this time, a half-blue and half-red gourd on one of the pedestals suddenly trembled in front of her, as if it was a child calling for Chai Ling. The little whirlwind fixed her eyes upon it for a moment, unable to discern the significance. Evil Smiting Hall was at hand, and Chai Ling did not wish to bring along a gourd of unknown origins to save her life. Besides, the appearance of the gourd in front her made the graceful Chai Ling truly unfond of it. Her heart vaguely was somewhat uneasy towards this gourd. Glancing at it, Chai Ling then looked to the next podium. Milady, a woman outside the castle calling herself the Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai is seeking an audience. Yuye walked to the outside of the purple firmament palace, deferentially speaking. Chai Ling and Kong Ho both froze at the same time and looked at each other. The elegant queen seemingly smiled yet did not, Chao Gai. In the end, she still came. Kong Ho was silent. Nevertheless, a slight desire to kill flit across her eyes. The 4 styles solitary path's final path was the scolding wind path, a devastating gale. Everything between heaven and earth was ground to pieces by the astral winds, whooshing. Ordinary artifacts could hardly resist. Even if they could block these violent winds, this was not a path that star cultivators who had gone through 3 paths was capable of crossing. Su Xing slowly stepped in the wind, a green treasure pearl floating high, scattering clear light in all directions. A path was open as if the squall had been cut apart by the clear light, unable to bother Su Xing in the slightest. This wind-settling pearl was a pretty good treasure, as expected. The miserable winds could not approach at all. If this was like normal, even if he could walk out, he would suffer grave consequences. Several hours later, Su Xing walked out of the scolding wind path. The scolding wind path was the end, with an ordinary wilderness of deathly stillness. This wilderness had a spatial transfer array. As long as one stepped into the spatial transfer array, they could leave the 4 styles solitary path. Just as Su Xing was about to leave, Wu Xinjie suddenly called out at this time, "Young lord, please wait a moment." The Su Xing with one foot in grunted, "What's the matter?" "Young lord, do you not feel this 4 styles solitary path is somewhat strange?" Wu Xinjie emerged from the star nest, sinking into contemplation as she gazed into the wilderness. "You mean the extreme environments?" "No. Young lord must have forgotten, but although they call it 4 styles, there actually are 5 styles." Wu Xinjie muttered. The earnestly reflecting knowledge star clearly appeared very charming. Su Xing nodded his head. Earth, wind, thunder, water and fire indeed were the 5 styles, but earth was not within the mainstream. The 4 styles school has 4 peaks, but the main peak, Clear Heart Peak, can be considered earth spirit. However, this 4 styles solitary path nevertheless lacks a spirit. Does young lord not feel this is odd? Wu Xinjie gazed at the wilderness before her. Xinjie, your meaning is that the 4 styles solitary path actually has 5 paths? Su Xing was mute. Precisely. Wu Xinjie originally did not think carefully, but seeing the wilderness in front of her, she had this sort of idea. How sharp the knowledge stars seeing clearly was, not at all confused by the four styles' solitary path's outward appearance of four styles. Immediately, she felt there was also a fifth path. But there's nothing special about this wilderness. Su Xing slightly had the same feeling, but besides the being rustic and thick, the wilderness honestly was ordinary compared to the previous four paths, not challenging in the least. It is precisely this that it is worth a look. Wu Xinjie giggled, there is something strange about this. Su Xing immediately understood the girl's meaning, inwardly in admiration. Then let's go take a look. Su Xing flew. The wilderness completely lacked forbid dances, and the smell of dirt was dense. It was unknown how many years had passed since this place was cared for. This wilderness was not big. Flying several circles, he spotted a cliff face at the end. It did not have spirit stones like the silent path's profound silence crystals, with even demon beasts absent from view, which was very strange. At the end of the wilderness was an upright stele. This stele seemingly was man-made, and upon it were three bold ancient characters, Earth Immortal Path. 5. As expected, this place was the fifth path. Compared to the other steles he saw, this stele had an additional ring decorative design. The four sides had four grooves, each with symbol for wind, thunder, water and earth. There were also a scale and such, as if it could spin like a roulette. A mechanism. Wu Xinjie could tell from a glance the use of this device, showing pleasant surprise. Su Xing tried to spin the scale, as if he was unlocking it as he aligned the grooves. After all four completely opened, he waited for a long time, yet there was not any sort of change. Many people must have seen this. If it was easily opened, it should already have been opened. It seems this has some other mechanisms. Wu Xinjie muttered. I think so, too. Su Xing did not feel the Four Styles School's other elders and headmasters would regard this stele as nothing. They must have spent much effort and could not release this mechanism, in the end no longer minding it. Young lord, do you still remember the mutual engenderment and mutual restraint of the four styles refining that little sister Lianxin mentioned? Wu Xinjie suddenly said. Earth births water, water births thunder, thunder births fire. Su Xing understood Wu Xinjie's meaning. Use the mutual engenderment and restraint of the four spirits to open the mechanism. After waiting expectantly for a while, what made Su Xing very disappointed was that the mechanism was motionless as before. Could it be it actually doesn't have a use, that it's just a decoration? Su Xing was helpless. This makes no sense. In Wu Xinjie's perspective, in the wilderness of deathly stillness, that the concentrated dirt qi also had this nearly neglected Earth Immortal Path stele clearly was a very standard hidden ruin. Su Xing once again tried mutual restraint, as well as other ways. In short, the roulette could spin, but was limited to these ways. Why does the mutual engenderment not have Earth? Gongsun Huang emerged from the star nest, suddenly coming to speak. This wilderness ought to be Earth. Wu Xinjie creased her brow. Suddenly, she froze, clapped her hands and laughed. Young lord, try imbuing it with purple cloud and then using the mutual engenderment method. All right. Su Xing gathered purple cloud in his palms and once again pushed the wheel. When he pushed to the first water mark, all of a sudden, that nearly lifeless groove suddenly shot out a ray of blue light. This surprise made Wu Xinjie happy. Su Xing increased his speed, pushing the four grooves. The four grooves immediately glowed with four spirit lights. Immediately afterwards, with a boom, a vortex appeared in the middle. Shockingly, this was a spatial transfer array. It actually opened the mechanism. Su Xing said in admiration. Thanks to little Huang reminding Xinjie. Wu Xinjie happily said, we needed to use Earth Qi to act as the first condition's mutual engenderment. Truly a complicated mechanism. If it was not for young lord luckily having the purple star transforming Qi there basically was no way to open it. Su Xing deeply held the same feeling. No wonder this ruin could hide for so long and not be a concern to anyone. To use Earth-type, true Qi, as the way, the four styles that the four styles school practiced did not have Earth. How could they open it? Do you wish to go take a look? Gong Sun Huang asked. Looking at that spatial transfer array, Su Xing and Wu Xingjie showed crafty smiles at the same time. The idea went without saying. In the more than 1,000 years of the Four Styles School, no one had entered the Earth Immortal Labyrinth. If they did not pay a visit, then how could she be worthy of the name, the Knowledge Star? The background scene changed, and the wilderness became a simple and unadorned hall. This hall was exceptionally enormous, more than 100 mu, with more than 20 flights of stairs. Both ends were densely packed with stone pillars too many to count. The huge hall's center had a single platform with a yellow book suspended above, emitting a blinding brown light. Dense earth chi endlessly poured out from the book, filling such an enormous hall with faint dust. The 100 mu hall had yellow smoke circulating, emitting a sort of extremely old aura, as if he had placed himself into a prehistoric world. What thing unexpectedly would have such great capabilities? Su Xing and Wu Xingjie were each startled, then flew before the yellow book. The yellow book was suffused with an ancient spiritual power, dense and steaming, like a rolling yellow sea. The golden ancient script wandered about like tadpoles, extremely profound. This is the Earth Book of the Five Spirits Law Heavenly Book. Wu Xingjie cried out in surprise. Su Xing was also stunned. The Five Spirits Law Heavenly Books were ancient books, containing the immortal magic powers of heaven and earth and 5 elements. Su Xing also was not unfamiliar, for long ago he had obtained the Blooming Water volume of the Five Spirits Law Heavenly Book to cultivate the Blooming Water Divine Thunder. For this reason he was even able to mix the Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. Su Xing naturally knew these immortal magics sometimes were slightly more powerful than magic weapons. However, the Five Spirits Law Heavenly Book had been lost for several millennia, and he had not heard of the history of other volumes. This seems to even be a complete Earth book. Wu Xingjie wavered like a candle flame. They saw that this book was several times thicker compared to the Blooming Water volume. Su Xing reached out his hand to take it when an odd change suddenly occurred. That dense rolling and covering yellow qi formed a yellow membrane that blocked Su Xing out. A yellow light condensed on the book's center, forming a beautiful woman with a graceful figure, sharp brows and starry eyes, a jasper nose and supple lips. Her head wore a yellow tiara, and she was draped in a golden thread muslin waistcoat. Her body was garbed in yellow palace dress, and her feet stepped on yellow clouds. Her white hands waved, enveloping the hall with earth spirit qi. True spirit. The group entirely was shocked. The so-called true spirit referred to a magic weapon evolving the sun, moon, stars, heaven, earth and the dual modes to the peak, producing a spiritual nature. It was comparable to a demon beast opening to wisdom and assuming human form. A magic weapon in itself was also capable of transforming into a body of true spirit, however, these true spirit bodies really were not like genuinely transforming into a human. At most, taking human form could let the magic weapon's power increase, and in the case that divine intent was injected, it was incapable of being forcibly captured. Granted that even if the cultivator died, the magic weapon's true spirit also would not entirely disappear. 2. However, the magic weapon true spirit's realm had an extremely great power. That was the cultivator could pour their own divine intent into the true spirit, changing directions into becoming the most magical of Liangshan's mysteries, external incarnation. 3. Magic weapons that generated a true spirit nevertheless were extremely few. On one hand, in the case a magic weapon had been imbued with divine intent, even if it gained awareness, prior connections were no longer possible with a true spirit. A few cultivators attempted to not cultivate magic weapons into producing true spirit. Relying on heaven and earth spirit qi to form could also allow magic weapons to reach the true spirit realm, but the required time needed more than 100 years, which was far too long. Currently, the most well-known true spirit magic weapon was Emperor Liang's 72 outer void flying immortal swords. His 72 flying swords already could reach the true spirit realm, becoming the outer heaven fairies. It was precisely by relying on this supreme feat that he became the Azure Dragon Territory's #1, but Emperor Liang's flying sword True Qi nevertheless was from comparison to a magic weapon's true spirit. Because flying swords were nurtured with a cultivator's life, producing a true spirit was not a rare thing. The talented often could reach the flying sword true spirit stage at Supervoid stage. This Earth book originally was a 5 Spirits Law heavenly book buried underground in the 4 styles solitary path for unknown years, endlessly sucking in the chi of heaven and earth. Thus, it developed into the true spirit realm, turning from a secret text into a true spirit. How could this Empress 2 Earth book be enjoyed by a mediocre man? The woman's voice was low. Calling itself Empress 2, her eyes were like boulders, imposing and dignified. The true spirit magic weapon already had intelligence. To capture it, the sole method was to defeat the magic weapon's true spirit. Otherwise, they would be killed by the true spirit. Being buried in this underground palace for so long must be lonely. Could it be you do not want to go out and see the world with your servant? Su Xing said. Empress Tu's tone was hard as a rock. Tiny star cultivator, you dare speak conceited nonsense. She shook the golden muslin damask on her body, read an incantation, and stones immediately sprayed out. The heavens were faint and the earth dark, a gale whistled, and all sides had a yellow mist. Extending his hand, Su Xing could not see his fingers. The Empress too that emerged from the Earth book clearly already could use Earth spirit abilities. Su Xing did not dare be neglectful. He waved the miraculous Bodhi tree in his hand a few times, and clear light and auspicious vapors the size of 100 mu flowed out. Green light flourished, with a myriad of magic clouds, basking all directions in a serene light, battling against Empress Tu's Earth spirit divine light. Confronting a true spirit, Su Xing did not dare hold back. At the same time, he grabbed onto the 4 symbols seal. The 4 holy beasts looked to the sky and cried, directly booming towards Empress Tuesday. Empress Tu expressionlessly raised both her hands, and the yellow cloud spread in every direction, appearing like a gigantic yellow blanket that resisted the 4 holy beasts. The yellow cloud sunk, and the 4 holy beasts struggled. Su Xing silently shouted, "How incredible," for it was just like they were unable to break free of the yellow cloud. He could not help but use all of his star energy. He had used the 4 holy beasts once before to face Emperor Liang, but he could not use it arbitrarily on spirit treasures with true spirits like this. Using it once required a long period of rest for nurturing. For now, hardly 10 days had passed. The true spirit holy beasts of the 4 symbols seal were exceptionally feeble, and the earth spirit's yellow light rigidly wrapped around them, not budging in the slightest. Gong Sun Huang struck a hand seal, activating several star magics in succession, yet they were stopped outside by Empress Tu's yellow barrier. Such a powerful defense. Wu Xinjie had been repelled several steps, inwardly surprised. The Earth Book's yellow light was completely hard to break open. Su Xing's forehead perspired profusely. Empress Tu then moved her hand, and a yellow sand dragon rolled across the ground, twisting to attack Su Xing. At the same time, Su Xing unleashed Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder and Purple Cloud True Star, but this yellow light was fierce. The purple light flashed and was swallowed whole by the Earth Spirit's chi. Even Emperor Liang would require great effort and time to capture this sort of true spirit magic weapon. Let alone Su Xing, if it was not for relying on several powerful prehistoric spirit weapons, Su Xing basically did not have any chances. However, Su Xing did not want to give up. Retreating 100 meters, he raised a green mountain. The 3 prehistoric spirit treasures simultaneously attacked, honestly making Su Xing nearly vomit blood. Simply advancing to Galaxy Middle Stage, he was barely able to control them. These 3 prehistoric spirit treasures were extremely powerful. If a supercluster cultivator used them, to break the Earth Book's defenses was completely nothing difficult. How could Su Xing, with his honestly too low cultivation, only Galaxy Middle Stage? Controlling them was somewhat taxing, much less even mentioning utilizing the spirit treasure's powers. The more superb the cultivator, the fewer the magic weapon abilities he could cultivate in the future. The cause was not himself, but in essence, character. A refined and proficient magic weapon often could resist several magic weapons. For yellow lights flew around Empress too thick and too thin, becoming a light cover that continued to trap the four holy beasts. Then, Empress too waved, and the yellow sand light flashed, becoming a giant hand. The yellow light was clear, unexpectedly slapping away the green lotus peak, grabbing at Su Xing. With these exchanges, Empress too practically was too powerful. The large hand already reached the top of his head, yet Su Xing did not rush. He made low roar, swallowing 20 immortal water pill dews in succession. His hands flipped through seals, and a purple cloud arose. The immortal thunder in the end obstructed Empress two's giant hand of yellow light. The yellow light went wild, and the earth spirit erupted with sand, dirt and dust. Empress two stood motionless, her clothes fluttering. The swift and severe attacks gradually waned. The earth book inherently was good at defense, so Empress two was without a choice. The yellow barrier was simply tough to the extreme, allowing Su Xing to attack any way he wanted, yet it did not break. Empress two slowly sucked in spirit chi, just like she was preparing the next wave of powers. How could Su Xing let her? He swiped the miraculous Bodhi tree several times. As if it encountered its nemesis, it disappeared without a trace when it fell into the yellow barrier. Allow me. Gong Sun Huang all of a sudden said flatly. Gong Sun Huang brandished the pine-brand ancient sword. Her star crest circulated, and the main hall immediately quaked. As if the heavens were overflowing and the earth was splitting, the main hall rocked. The pervasive earth spirit and yellow chi were just like a gale blew past, rolling away. Dark rank star magic. Half-destroyed landscape. Half-destroyed landscape was one of Leisure Star Gong Sun Huang's extremely powerful lethal star magics. In the case she used it, the heavens fell and the earth rend, the rivers churned and seas overturned. The rivers within 100 mu would drain. Originally, this could even break Emperor Liang's spatial sword array of the outer void flying immortals. In addition, this earth barrier was probably not any stronger than Emperor Liang's sword array, but because this place had earth spirit chi that concentrated for eons, it became this powerful to an abnormal degree. The hall immediately was rocked with a violent earthquake. The earth book's yellow barrier swayed like waves of water. They saw half-destroyed landscape was incapable of breaking this earth book defense the first time, and Su Xing's heart was dismayed. That yellow light barrier suddenly ripped open with a thin fracture. When Su Xing saw that, he immediately was overjoyed at this unexpected development. Without the slightest hesitation, he called forth the heaven-tearing flying swords, using the last bit of dragon power in the heaven-tearing flying swords, transforming into a golden dragon that fiercely slashed. This sword also was an immemorial sword chant. It was unexcelled in the world, and it was mainly focused in attacking, splitting the barrier open. Su Xing immediately released Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder and Purple Cloud True Star in succession to attack. Empress too raised her hands, and the earth spirit chi within 100 mu concentrated, like something prehistoric, covering the skies and earth. They saw she was about to restore this earth barrier. Su Xing's expression changed. He knew full well that if she actually repaired the barrier, they would have no way of retrieving any leeway. His heart rocked. He rapidly rushed towards the four symbols seal, striking four hand seals. The four holy beasts roared. Unexpectedly, the true spirits self-destructed. Four rays of light blew apart. Using the power of the holy beasts' true spirits, even if they were weak, detonating them together was unknown levels of powerful. The shockwave of the explosion shook apart the earth spirit chi that was concentrating, giving Su Xing a chance to catch his breath. Immediately afterwards, that tear received a violent shock and tore open. Suddenly, the golden swords frantically slashed with a bang. The earth book's earth barrier that had been saved since prehistory suddenly shattered. Wu Xinjie was sharp-sighted and deft. She seized this chance to rush forward. When the earth barrier broke, her hand pressed down on the earth book, running back to Su Xing's front with it. Su Xing made an effort to support his body that was about to fall, sinking his essence, blood and divine intent into the earth book. The Empress too, true spirit of the earth book, then groaned. Its eyes lost their sharpness, and it slowly disappeared. The yellow light across the whole sky and the concentrated earth chi bared their fangs and claws as they frantically spilled into the earth book to mend the damage. Until his own divine intent was thoroughly branded upon this terrifying prehistoric spirit treasure did Su Xing finally breathe a sigh of relief and fall into Wu Xinjie's bosom, nearly done for. "Young lord, you truly are wonderful," Wu Xinjie whispered and lightly kissed him. Clear Heart Hall, the plaza. Hundreds of the Four Styles School's disciples whispered as the Taoist master Xian Tian and Zhu Yueka were somewhat uneasy. Half of the disciples that went through the experience this time came back. The other half probably had more misfortune than good luck. Now, the passage was about to close and still 2 people had not arrived. As it happened, these 2 people were extremely important to the Four Styles School. Su Xing and Yun Pengtian. The 3 great disciples of the Four Styles School looked at each other in dismay. These 2 could not have battled it out, right? Could it be they met with mishaps at the same time? Zhu Yueka's expression was very gloomy. The plaza was in a heated discussion. Everyone was making guesses, and each person wore a regretful expression. Would he die? The indifferent Tang Lianxin's face was pale, feeling the inside of her heart was suffocating in a panic. The Four Styles solitary path already was incapable of continuing, and the Taoist master Sun Tian was left with no choice but to close it. Please wait, Tang Lianxin strictly said. Everyone present was taken aback, showing odd expressions. The solitary star did not say anything, but her expression was abnormally resolute, believing a certain someone would return. Silence. There was another moment, and the heads of the 4 spirit peaks already were incapable of sustaining. Everyone sighed. Tang Lianxin suddenly felt her heart was somewhat in anguish. Just at this moment, a figure appeared in another spatial transfer array. That figure was so feeble, as if he had went through a great battle of life and death, his energies so exhausted that he even made people doubt that he could still walk. But still he walked out, wearing a fearless smile. I have returned. He was Su Xing. Before Zhu Yueka could say anything, a beautiful figure flew straight to Su Xing. Everyone was shocked. Su Xing was stunned. Seeing Tang Lianxin's worried expression, the man's heart was warm, and he spread his face into a smile. His expression was weak, his smile firm. Little sister Lianxin, are you willing to live and die together with me? Tang Lianxin's heart stirred, only feeling her eyes were dry and heavy. Suddenly, she closed her eyes and kissed Su Xing's lips. The 2 of them tightly deep kissed. The silence at this moment conveyed more feeling than any words spoken. A star crest appeared on each other, and a crimson star immediately sparkled above Liangshan, shocking the 4 styles. Boulder Armor, Heaven-Suppressing Stillness Hand, 2, and Earth Spirit Sword Form, 3, the Bedroom of the Bamboo House. Su Xing's hands held up the Earth Book, flipping through the pages to look at the immortal magic recorded within this Earth Book. This Earth Book was worthy of being called one of Liangshan's rarely seen abnormal magic weapons. Not only did it record abilities and cultivation methods, it also had use in arming the underdog. Upon opening the Earth Book, dense Earth Chi rose and wafted, enveloping him within. When Su Xing learned the purple star transforming Qi, he just happened to lack usage of the immortal magic. Now, this Earth Book was just perfect to make up for that regret. The Earth element immortal magic recorded in the book was very formidable. The Boulder Armor was able to allow the purple cloud to cover his upper body and transform into a defensive type armor. It was slightly more powerful than the already damaged Golden Thread Fish Scale armor. The Heaven-Suppressing Stillness Hand had Qi become a giant hand, easily grabbing hold of cultivators, heavily overturning the seas and shifting the mountains. It was an incredible ability. Furthermore, the whatever earth spirit sword form and earth stabbing arts were pretty good abilities in a fight. What a pity. For the sake of this book, young Lord damaged the Four Symbols seal, and flying swords, the Green Lotus Peak, too. Wu Xinjie said regretfully. The true spirits of the Four Symbols seal's 4 holy beasts had self-destructed. For the Four Symbols seal to once again recover required at least several months' time. Now that evil smiting hall was imminent, this was not a small regret. It is impossible to be completely successful in everything. Su Xing smiled. He did not mind at all. Although the Four Symbols seal was great, it did not have the Earth Book's mystery. Possessing this book, even if he was to once again face Chao Gai, Su Xing had a bit of confidence. Wu Xinjie had wanted to say more. At this time, she sensed someone was entering, so she entered the star nest. Su Xing also put away the Earth Book. How could he easily reveal this level of treasure to anyone? Zhu Yueka wore a crescent moon white shirt, delicately entering the room. Seeing Su Xing, she showed a slight smile. How are your injuries? Many thanks for Master's concern, not at all a big hindrance. In actuality, after Su Xing and Tang Lianxin signed a star duel covenant, he had already recovered to his previous state. It was just that Zhu Yueka was not put at ease that she had Su Xing first return to the room to recuperate. This is good. Zhu Yueka smiled, glancing with a very deep meaning at the expressionless Tang Lianxin at the side. She beckoned with her hand to make her sit nearby. Pausing for a moment, Zhu Yueka then said, Su Xing, Lianxin, now that you two have already signed a star duel covenant, this is a very important matter for the Four Styles School. The entire school will support you with all its strength. Although Evil Smiting Hall is about to open, you must not lose heart. Disciple definitely will not disgrace the mission. Su Xing replied very earnestly. This was not because Zhu Yueka thought those sorts of words upon his lips were pleasant to hear. For the sake of the 7 beauties he thought of, he must take hold of these star duels. Zhu felt gratified, and then she discussed the Four Styles School's arrangements with Su Xing and Tang Lianxin. Tang Lianxin using the kiss contract to sign onto the star duels overturned the heavens for the Four Styles School. This type of matter had only been heard of, never seen, and it made the whole school's enthusiasm surge. It was just that the school could not participate in the thing. In sword chants, arrays, spirit stones and such, they would use all their power to support Su Xing. They would do all they could to make Su Xing become one of the final 7 stars. Su Xing, Master wants to ask you question. Zhu Yueka suddenly said. Master, please ask. Your senior brother Yunpeng Tian, you two must have had something happen. Zhu Yueka feared Su Xing had a misunderstanding. She lightly smiled, there is no need for you to have misgivings. Now that you are the Four Styles School's star master, no one will blame you. Master, you are just wrongly blaming disciple. Su Xing cried out loud at the injustice. He really did not encounter that most promising potential star master Yunpeng Tian. Of course, even if they did truly run into one another, Su Xing would at best only beat him into scrambling back home, and neither did he have interest in taking his life. Master believes you. Zhu Yueka nodded. Yunpeng Tian not leaving the Four Styles solitary path had aroused very big waves in the Four Styles School. After all, Yunpeng Tian was but one of the 4 great disciples. Ever since he was little, he had been raised to be a star master, consuming countless spirit pills and liquids. His talent was outstanding, and after the star duels began, he reached galaxy middle stage. It could be said that he was the Four Styles School's hard work, but in this experience, no one had thought Yunpeng Tian would unexpectedly not appear. Furthermore, Su Xing in the end was like he had exhausted his energy. Everyone naturally thought the two had engaged each other inside. Senior sisters Tsong Wanji and Ruan Hongxue actually supported that you did not strike treacherously, you know. Zhu Yueka smiled as she asked. Su Xing smiled. That Song Wanji would believe him was not surprising, but for that Wan Hongxue to not kick a person who was down was actually unforeseen. However, Yun Pengtian had practiced his cultivation ever since he was small, yet he never cultivated abilities, so although his cultivation was high, he nevertheless was just a gilded exterior. Master feels he has met with a mishap. Zhu Yueka flatly said. Su Xing was mute, inwardly calling out that this truly was a pity. Before, he was formidable and mighty, yet in the end, he nevertheless was scattered ash and smoke. To waste their efforts had even helped him obtain a name, truly a waste. Zhu Yueka also spoke of some of the other affairs of the star duels, even asking Tang Lianxin the materials she needed to upgrade her star weapon. Tang Lianxin's Great Void Gold Lotus unexpectedly was 1 star and unupgraded. In the star duels, people everywhere understood one logic. The higher the level of a star weapon, the greater its dominance. Starting from a 5-star destined weapon, they practically reached a realm that Liangshan continent's cultivators could only gaze from behind. The 4 Styles School was a tool refinement great sect. For the sake of the star duels, they had stockpiled many materials, for this was the greatest advantage of the school's star master. Zhu Yueka also guaranteed that they would not make Tang Lianxin feel wronged. Right, these things are given to you for use in the star duels. Finally Zhu Yueka waved her hand. 5 items appeared, a palace dress, a jade hairpin, a set of silver armor, a folded talisman, and a silver flying knife. The entire 4 Styles School bestows these upon you for use in the star duels. The 7 stars Nikhang, and falling star hairpin, are for Lianxin to use. Star generals can use 2 astral treasures, so they are perfect to give you. This 7 stars Nikhang can defend against blades, exorcise miasma, and it can confuse an earthly fiend astral treasure. The falling star hairpin is a pretty good offensive astral treasure. Zhu Yueka introduced them. The heavenly silkworm snow silver armor, 5, can protect you from injury. This is the 4 styles high-grade talisman capable of releasing the 4 magics of wind, thunder, water and fire. This soul-breaking sword, 6, is incapable of cutting flesh, but it can break divine intent. Seeing Zhu Yueka's introductions, Su Xing was very surprised. It seemed that the 4 Styles School indeed gave a lot of thought to this. Although Su Xing currently could not possibly take a fancy to these, the average star cultivator absolutely would find these helpful items. Su Xing thanked her once again. Zhu Yueka slightly smiled, only instructing for Tang Lianxin to upgrade her star weapon and no longer bothered them. For matters like the star duels, if the sect interfered too much, Maiden Mountain would be dissatisfied. This 4 Styles School truly has taken a lot of trouble. The Knowledge Star said. A star master with a sect's support is not the same. Su Xing sighed. Wu Xinjie giggled, young lord, seriously. With young lord's current powers, how could the other star master be this formidable? Xinjie feels that just the great Saint Starkiller would be more troublesome. Discussing the great Saint Starkiller, Su Xing also had the same feelings. A super prehistoric spirit treasure, the Boundless Bell, and a flying sword ability originating from the Black Turtle Territory's Devil Palace and not inferior to the heavenly spirit earthly fiend Purple Star 5 Elements sword. Any way he was examined, he was an abnormal character, far more formidable than that holy lord of draconic demon. Recalling this, Su Xing remembered that he had best forge the wood element sword as soon as possible. Now that his metal element sword needed nurturing and was incapable of further use, the top priority was to quickly produce the wood sword. For the difference of whether or not a star cultivator had a flying sword, the gap in strength honestly was too big. Su Xing certainly was fully aware of this. Little sister Lianxin, big brother fears there is something else he needs to trouble you with. Su Xing apologetically said. Tang Lianxin asked, is it the flying sword? Exactly. Su Xing explained the matter of the 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Refining the flying sword materials by Tang Lianxin's methods could not be more suitable. 10,000-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Tang Lianxin showed shock. As a tool refinement master, she naturally knew the valiance of this item. Elder brother, how do you have such a divine item? That's a long story. In short, this is the way things are. Su Xing laughed. Tang Lianxin nodded. Right, little sister, can you refine an astral treasure from this Nüwa jade? Su Xing moved his hand and brought out this Nüwa jade. Its significance could not be discerned, but it should be quite powerful. However, Su Xing currently could not take a liking to any galaxy magic weapon. He thought that since ancient lost treasures could be refined into magic weapons, he wondered whether or not she could refine an astral treasure for the girls to use. Nüwa jade. Tang Lianxin was slightly shocked. She pondered, then replied, a lost treasure can be refined into an astral treasure, but that requires some materials to assist. What materials? Galaxy sand and such. Alright, I'll just go to Kagoshima to take a look. The wood element sword just so happens to also lack a few materials and the Putua purple bamboo sand. I might as well also buy those. Su Xing's teeth hurt, suddenly discovering this was a very large expenditure. Borrowing more from Chai Ling was embarrassing, and he actually could take those 100-year evil-suppressing gem bamboo to exchange. Come to think of it, he could trade. Alright. Tang Lianxin agreed, still a reclusive and not wanting to discuss things' appearance. Su Xing doubted that the passion Tang Lianxin leaked when they signed a contract was an illusion. Evil Smiting Hall was on the verge of opening, and there was no time to lose. Tang Lianxin would go upgrade her star weapon and refine the evil-suppressing gem bamboo. Su Xing would go to Kagoshima to buy every sort of material required for the flying sword. He had just walked out the door. He suddenly recalled he still needed to return Wan Hongshua's wind-settling pearl and fire dragon whip. Su Xing first went to Fire Cloud Peak. Fire Cloud Peak's temperature was very hot, enveloped in red clouds, which is how it gained the name Fire Cloud. Fire Cloud Peak's disciples cultivated fire-type cultivation methods, and they were accustomed to this blistering heat. When Su Xing went to Fire Cloud Peak, those disciples that once bickered with Su Xing gazed at him with reverence and respect. Their expressions were complex, with envy, jealousy, mockery, disdain, 100 attitudes, everything in between. Su Xing was disinclined to mind them. If they welcomed him with a smile, he returned a smile. If they welcomed him with disdain, then he returned with disdain. Junior brother Su Xing, why have you come to Fire Cloud Peak? Jiao Shu laughed when he spotted Su Xing. Su Xing's impression of him was pretty good, and he also smiled. I came to find Wan Hongxue, to return things to her. Little sister is currently, Jiao Shu was just about to reply. A cold snort interjected, Su Xing, come over here yourself. The two of them turned their heads. Wan Hongxue grunted, walking to a remote corner. This is your fire dragon whip and wind-settling pearl, I am returning them. Many thanks for your wind-settling pearl. Su Xing looked at Wan Hongxue, not saying much, retuning her things. Wan Hongxue did not rush at all to receive them, rather she twisted her brow and asked, you honestly tell me. Did you kill senior brother Yun Pingtian? What would I kill him for? Su Xing could not help laughing. You truly did not kill him. Wan Hongxue stared. Su Xing twitched his lips, disdainful. Wan Hongxue said in a soft voice, although you are a very loathsome person, you are not bad either. I believe you. What do I care if you believe me or not? Su Xing returned her things. I still have other matters, so I'll be leaving first. Wait a moment. Wan Hongxue called out. Su Xing turned his head, wrinkled his brow. What is this little girl doing? This wind-settling pearl, just take it as a gift for you for the star duels. Wan Hongxue shyly blushed and said. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.